Well, you're alive.
Yes.
You're alive.
Alive and well.
You know, everybody thought Barry knocked you out, and you haven't been on her for a few weeks. So everybody thought, that you was away licking your wounds from your great battle with your dad, Barry.
Well, actually, I was licking my wounds, but it's the wounds from fucking wisdom teeth that bothered me.
Yes, exactly. You have been sick. We're going to talk about that and find out where Max has been, guys. We have a lot to talk about today because this podcast is going to be all about Euros. All about the Euros that we have last week, all about the Euros that is on as we're recording this. So with that said, the arrogant one is back with us, and we're gonna geek out on this stuff. And let's drop that intro.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right.
Yeah. See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Leslie the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about
it. Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? I'm just super happy to have my little buddy back. He's back.
Yeah.
The arrogant one is back, or as you're now known as Barry's son. Even though Barry is going to be upset as soon as I say this, people now call you Barry's son. But welcome back, everybody. This is episode number 196. I'm your host, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great. And if you don't know him, this is Max Moore, aka Arrogant Max. You have quite a few nicknames now.
I've collected them now.
Yes, you're getting like Joseph. He has quite a few.
Yeah.
He has even a new one now, Reverse Speaker. He's got orange skin and green hair. So like it's good to see you, Max. You've been kind of sick. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit before we go on. But before we go on, everybody, we want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for everything. We're getting close to that 200 episode, and that's going to be a big episode. I was talking to some people. I think we're going to have I think you're going to be a part of it. Hopefully, Joseph's going to be a part of it, and maybe TZO will be a part of it because the 200th episode might actually coincide with something. So we'll see. But that's coming up soon. We're going to celebrate 200 episodes of us random village idiots talking about RC cars. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? 200 episodes, Max.
Yeah.
200 effing episodes. Mind you, we kind of went on the afterburner this year. Like, we hit it hard and we're kind of taking it easy now. But it's hard to take it easy now because it's so much racing. I mean, we got the Euros this week. We got the Visions race next weekend and ENATS. So it's like, and then it's just not, it's no break. But I love it. I'm so excited right now. It's RC racing euphoria for me right now. Mm-hmm. But let me do my spiel, and then we'll get talking about the Euros from last week, some beach RC questions, some high tech news, and all that type of stuff. So obviously, without you guys, the NNRC squad around the world, we can't do this. We greatly appreciate your support and thank you for everybody that goes and clicks those download buttons and listens to us. If you're listening to us on audio apps, please leave a review. If you're listening to us on YouTube or you haven't discovered our YouTube channel, please go there. Hit that sub notification button, dislike or like button, and leave a comment. It helps us with the algorithms. I'm really trying to grow that YouTube channel. It's going to be a mixture of RC and my adventure, the NNRC and my adventures as well for coming up. So hit that. Thank you to all the patrons of the podcast. We can't do it without you guys. Some guys have been in there since the patrons started. I can't say anymore. But besides, thank you. If you wish to become a patron, you can. The link is in the written description of this podcast. Also, we have some awesome sponsors. Invisible Speed, congratulations. We have the Invisible Speed Euros. That's pretty awesome. I never thought I would see that. So
officially.
Yeah.
And we should be calling that the Invisible Speed 8-scale Euros.
That's what I'm calling it. The EFRA Invisible Speed 8-scale Euros. Now, am I allowed to say Nitro Buggy or we don't say that?
No, IC Off-Road.
Okay, IC Off-Road. Okay. So I have been saying Nitro Buggy. I don't want to trigger any type of what's going on with Nitro right now in Europe. So I don't want to, IC Buggy. Why IC? What's IC stand for?
Internal combustion.
Never knew that.
Then the electric is EP, so I think that's electric powered, if I'm not wrong.
Boom. I just been calling it IC Buggy because I thought it was cool. I had no idea why it was called IC Buggy. So my mind just was blown just now. Super blown. But yeah, Invisible Speed is the title sponsor of the Euros. Well done. I mean, look, I'm gonna get more involved with this. I've been talking to Joseph. I'm gonna get more on the course and all that type of stuff. But this is such a great little thing. This is not even a little thing. If you like the book that's right here, then you'll love the course because it's just way more. And it's a living organism. It's gonna keep on growing. So, but we need to get people in there to see how good it is. I know a couple of drivers that are doing very well are in the course. And I'm not going to say their names, but he's doing very well. I just gave him some congratulations a few weeks ago. But anyway, check out invisiblespeed.net. TZO 200 tires. I was talking to Nick yesterday. Like I said, we might be doing something here for our 200 episode. And, 200 is kind of coincides with TZO because I think they're about to launch. So shout out to them. Thank you for their support. High Tech RCD. Good to. I was just talking to them, trying to get ready for the Worlds coming up here soon. So thank you to High Tech, TNR Fuels. I need to hit up Chris, see how things are going with his facility and everything they got going on there. Mayako, oh man, big race for the Viking and everybody this weekend. We're going to talk about that. Shout out to the NPC community. It's good to see you guys. Beach RC, what's up, Brent, Lucas, and all you guys. I did record with Lucas, but I haven't posted it yet. I'm probably going to wait till after this race to post it. It was a good chat with my boy Lucas. Go check out the Beach RC YouTube as well. Let's grow that and get them up to 1,000 likes and get some watch hours. 1,000 subs and watch hours. Techno RC, thank you to Techno for all that. I just ordered some stuff for my MT410. Super excited about that. Lugs Racing Tires, JQ. Well, it's not JQSM no more. It's just Invisible Speed. G-Spec RC tuning for all your cabling needs. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic for your traction needs. Sun Padal USA. Thank you, Sun Padal, for the batteries that will be good on my Techno 410. I did an unboxing of that. I know it's a little bit out of sync and not so great, guys, but don't worry. I figured it out, and my videos are going to be better. Don't worry. They'll be better. I was listening to the first podcast the other day, and it was absolute shit, the audio. Racecraft USA, I think they got their shift block. And that's such a cool name. They got they got this block that holds diffs and shocks, and they just called it a shift block. Another simple name that just mind blows me. I was super amazed at that. What a cool name. Check them out. Clinic RC, shout out to Tony and Vicky. RCGP, they're also a sponsor of the coverage of the Euros, which I thought is really good. David's going to be joining us later on because we're going to take a look at the Euros. So we'll ask him about that as well. But I'm super happy to see RCGP at EFRA. RCGP putting their money where their mouth is. You know what I mean? Hey, we're going to sponsor, help, they have one more. We're going to sponsor this event. Very good. Very good. Very good to see. House of RC, the David Ronafalk Race Shop, JTP RC. Shout out to my boy Alexander Hagberg. I was talking to him yesterday. My boy RC Kevin. And yeah, man. Good to be back. Sorry for the long spiel, everybody. Remember, if you want to show the podcast some love, you can show them some love. There are links, affiliate links, coupon codes. Not everything has a coupon code. But if you just order from any of these companies, let them know that you heard about it on the NNRC and help us out a little bit, please. We greatly appreciate that. Yeah, Maxi. So what's going on, dude? You and contrary to you getting heat stroke at the World's warm up, you actually look like you need some sun.
Yeah, well, that's just me. I'm usually pretty pale.
You are from
God
Finland.
Gave me. Yeah, that
The lack of melanin is duly noted.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been going to work. I went for work for a month. Then I mean, in the middle of that, I went to the World's warm up. And after that, I've had 1 week I was sick. Don't really know what I had. Then last week I had my wisdom tooth, and it was like really painful. Luckily made it, like they removed it like a day before the race last
Did
week.
you keep it?
So the tooth? No, I didn't. It was just a small one. But he showed me it was fucking curved as shit.
Yeah, I'm had a wisdom tooth come in like this, and then it created a cyst all up in her.
Yeah, mine was straight, but
then I had one come in one time
yeah,
straight. Crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but now it's been all right. I've been sort of taking a holiday, and full disclosure, I do have a girlfriend these days, but that hasn't affected my RC.
Not according to Joseph.
Much. Mostly the being sick part.
Not according to
Joseph says otherwise,
but what's his excuse? He's had a girlfriend for a long time.
But he has something against women.
Oh God, here we go. JQ has something against him. Maybe he hasn't had enough of them. That's probably why. But he
usually dates just the crazy ones.
I think so. Does your girlfriend like JQ? Because like usually like significant others don't like JQ too much. Like my wife has a love-hate relationship with him. She loves him, but she hates him.
She thought he was she thought he was funny. That's about it. JQ is a 40-year-old child. Really.
He's an autistic, green-haired 40-year-old man child. That's what we're dealing with right there.
That's pretty much something.
Yeah, and I mean, it's no disrespect. That's just the truth. Like that it's not I will tell that to his face, but I've also learned that's just him. You know what I mean? So, but we're gonna, he's having a good time at the Euros because we're recording this right now while the Euros are going on. I think free practice is going on, or seeding practice, and whatnot. So, unfortunately, you've been sick, but you look to recuperate. You did race last weekend. You did lose to JQ again.
Yeah, I mean that was the first time I touched the car since World's warm up. I mean my car was like I didn't even race at the World's warm up. I practiced for half a day after the race because I broke a tank and we didn't have any spares with David. So yeah, I only like ran half a day there. Before that, the last time I ran was the first national. I missed the second one because I was sick.
Okay.
So yeah, I haven't raced a lot, but I've been home. I've been modeling a lot of stuff for my car. So if you're in MPC, 3D modeling.
Oh, okay.
So if you're in the MPC chat, look out. Maybe next week or week after that when I get back home, you can see something exciting. Maybe, I don't know.
So you've been doing stuff that I completely have no interest in. It's like me talking action figures right now. No, but I do like to see the finished product. But that's good. Speaking of the MPC, which was really cool. Yesterday, Ronafalk was live. Well, just giving live updates there and selling like his setups and all this different stuff. And I thought that was just incredibly awesome. Like that, that's the beauty of Discord. My Discord got hacked this weekend. Did you see that too?
You got hacked everywhere, dude.
Dude.
Like Facebook, now Discord.
Dude, I lost my WhatsApp number.
Yeah,
I'm in-
yeah, I saw. Yeah,
I'm in Italy, right? I'm in Italy and everything's fine. And then on the middle of the day, Sunday, oh, WhatsApp, your number's banned. I'm like, what?
yeah,
No way to recuperate. Like, I've just completely lost, like, everything that I had before is gone. Like, my Facebook, my Instagram, the NNRC Instagram, my old number. I have to go get, now I have a new number. Now I have to go get another little cheap phone just to have that other number just in case. You get what I'm saying? But wow, they got me. And now I got damn two-step verification on everything. Everything. So yeah, I don't know. I need to get some. Yeah, that was the great hack messed me up. But yeah, man, good to have you back. It was good to have you on for Barry. I also you needed a little break and all that type of stuff because we went kind of hard the first 6 months, and so I appreciate you coming on. And this is gonna be one of the old school podcasts. It's gonna be long. We're gonna have we're gonna have some Martin. We're gonna have Martin Owen come on, the BRCA. He's in charge of like the 10 scale side of things. He's also part of the Extra Lap podcast. We want to talk about the, just his story and the Euros that will happen last week. And then later on in this podcast, you, me, and Isherwood, we're gonna get together and take a look at the upcoming Euros that's going on in the beautiful like Barcelos, which when I look at that track and every picture I look at, I just wish like I'm like, if somebody said, Lefty, you have to be here tomorrow, like, and we'll pay for you to get her, I would be there tomorrow. Like, honestly, I would figure it out and I'd be there tomorrow. I'd be like, boom, boom, boom. And I'll be like, hey, Max, I'm flying to Spain right now.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I saw the pictures of like the facility and the sort of history of RC World. That was
cool, isn't it?
Very, very nicely done.
Yeah, like different. Yeah, it's you can see the pride and just a beautiful facility. Congratulations to the Figueiredo family. I guess they're the owners of it. Maybe it's a club. I don't know, but beautiful, beautiful facility. All right. You know what? We have to get on and talk about some RC news. Real quick, because I know you've been dying to talk about this, and this is relevant, and you're probably gonna piss off people here. So, but anyway, this week's RC news is brought to you by High-Tech RCD. High-Tech RCD is a leader in RC systems, developing the highest performance and reliability, supported by dedicated customer service personnel. The HSBC 938 1TH servers have efficient brushless motors, titanium gears, low consumption, constant output, and a metal case. They're also got their new low profile DB778 WPs, which I see a lot of guys in 10 scale are using. I saw Sammy Moran, I think he won stock with it the other day. The carpet nets, congratulations. So check them out for your 10 scale on-road and off-road needs. The DB778 WPs manufactured with your high technology using industrial strength innovation, bringing them to RC. Also, they have the RDX2 Pro charger, which I don't have the box of today because I'm actually promoting my boy Uncle Eddie's right here today and on Beach RC. But yeah, the RDX2 Pro charger, I've talked about it enough times. I'm still using it. Hopefully, I might get out to the lake. I haven't been able to get out to the lake this week, but hopefully we will. The lake's also dirty. We had a lot of rain. But trust in High-Tech, your server and charger headquarters. Visit them at hightechrcd.com/where-to-buy to find your nearest dealer. Also, the High-Tech RC news is also brought to you by TNR Fuels, because here at the NNRC, we're all about the glory, and that glory is Nitro. TNR is the hottest fuel in the market, owned and operated by Chris Nelson and his family, made by racers for racers. Currently available throughout the USA. Hit up Chris at www.tnrfuels.com or contact him directly at chris@tnrfuels.com. Just find him on Facebook and shoot him a message and find out how you can get some TNR fuels locally. I believe he has international shipping set up, and I need to get in contact with Chris and find out what's going on here because he's got some big plans. But thank you to High-Tech RC and TNR Fuels. You can find links in the written description. They're bringing you your RC news this week. And Max, do you just want to go right into it? Because I know you kind of want to go right into it. So Losi dropped their new car. Probably, well, TLR, sorry. Before we go on, I just don't want, I don't want people getting upset with this. This is just the opinions, not fact. But this is this is something that's been long in coming. We've been hearing about this elusive new car for quite some time. They dropped a video. I'm trying to think where they filmed this video. It looks like they filmed this video in Vegas, to be honest. Maybe not. Max, the new Team Losi 8X 2.0, 8XE 2.0. Yeah. What do you think?
So I think what happened actually was that Barry needed to get on the podcast before they released this car to sort of get in touch with us so that we wouldn't go too hard. But I think his plan failed a bit because we already went hard on him when he was on the podcast. But I'm happy to finally fully see the car. It looks pretty much exactly what I said they would do, and it's pretty much exactly what I expected, but slightly worse. So,
come on, Max. It ain't come on, Max.
No, but there are good things though, and I think they've done what Barry said they've done. Sort of, they've refined the old car to work better and to sort of match the market more, because their car was sort of out of sync.
Yes,
they had the C-hub front end, Mugen style rear end. Everyone else sort of went away. Even Mugen went away from the Mugen rear end. So that's what's pretty much that's what I think the biggest things about it. They've sort of modified their car to match the market of today, but I don't think there's anything revolutionary or something big. But I don't think anyone was sort of referencing
do that. Nobody will. We've talked about that, like innovation and whatnot. So, give me some of the things that you like and some of the things that you dislike.
Yeah. So here we can see the platform. So they in the Nitro buggy they went away from the one piece sort of where you adjust or attach the throttle servo or center lift mount. That's been reversed. They now did separate again. I don't know why. Maybe it's to save weight. I don't really find why they did that, but okay, doesn't really make a huge difference. Then the e-buggy, I do like the layout. I do think this is I wouldn't call it the best because I haven't tried it or I haven't tried all the layouts against each other and see what's the best. But this is logically seems like the best solution.
Right, because it spreads the weight out low and along the chassis, similar to the motor and ESC and servo on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. So this logically I would start with this layout if I would build e-buggy right now with myself. But there are other layouts that could work. I do like the engine in the back though. That is definitely, I would like to see this layout, but the engine flip, so the diff in the back. But I don't know if that would be too calm, too lazy, way too far rearwards. But that could be interesting to see what that would do. But that's about the layout. The biggest differences in the car is the rear end, really. So what they've done is narrower rear pivots, and if you'll scroll down, you can see the rear of the car. So the pivots they've sort of done what Mugen and Associated did. So they went from that 65 millimeter, 64 millimeter pivot width down to like a 55, 57. I think they're around there. Similar width to Mugen and Associated. But instead of what they've done, contrary to Mugen and Associated, they've also changed the hub a bit, I do think. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't checked yet if the old hub is similar. But there's definitely more offset on this hub. So so that does help them rear grip, and I do think that's a good change if that was the change. But it does look that they've changed it. Longer arms so the cars calm down. So good changes, but these are more refinements. These don't change the handling of the car drastically in a way of sort of. It's not like a change. it's not a massive change, I'd say, but it's
right. It's
a
like not
change
like
for
a
the
whole
better.
new platform.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, if I was a TLR driver, I'd expect this to be slightly easier car to drive and more sort of calm down overall across all surfaces. But
Okay.
to me, I was a bit disappointed though, because this, like, they had this car a year ago already,
hmm
and now they released it. Like, yeah,
You was
like
expecting more.
oh, definitely, because they held out for the release for so long. I was expecting a lot more, really.
You said you
And
like the body and something else, the nose cone. Yeah, the nose cone looks really
yeah,
cool. I like that.
yeah, I do like the nose cone because that's the sort of. I think they did it for the looks, obviously, most likely. But the nose cone, I do like that style because you would be sort of having a clearer airflow around the front
Mm.
diff box. I don't know how much that of effect. I still have that to figure out, but I think that style of nose cone is gonna be better unless you want to run a front wing or a scoop. The body itself does look better as well. The side wings, they funny enough, everyone keeps making sort of fun of me for saying, "Oh, the side wings help," and that J Concepts has side wings. Now even fucking Joseph made side wings on Mayako.
Uh-oh.
TLR comes with an Axis body for this car that has side wings. I don't think there's any car left who doesn't run these. And then people say, "Oh, like Aero
I
doesn't make
remember
any
when you
difference."
was getting teased about your Lexian wings.
Yeah. To me, I don't really care about it. I'm happy if I'm the only smart one here. But to me, it's funny that people say like, "Oh, you're doing silly things," and then everyone does what I say them to tell them
Like
to
later
do.
on. But that's
Yeah,
typical RC.
it
That's
is typical, and I think Barry definitely understands a lot more than he lets out to be.
Yes.
Says out, and he agrees with me way more than people think. But yeah, I think this is a good move.
Yeah.
And I think this car will be sort of that TLR car that was previously really fast and Fend dominated DNC with
hmm
in qualifying. That car, but the issues mellowed out, ironed out the biggest issues. It still has in my opinion, and this is an opinion, the wrong design concept, but they've moved that concept and refined that concept to work better on
Got
the
you. So
current
basically they yeah.
current climate of RC, current tracks, especially
Right.
in America.
And they're sticking with this 8X base that they kind of came out with in 2018. I
Yeah.
get that. I mean, this is financially the most best thing to do as well, because I mean,
Mhm.
to make a whole new car is extremely expensive,
Yeah, and they
molds and
would
whatnot.
need.
I
Yeah,
mean, but they could do
they
it, but
do.
depends how
They
much
do
budget they
have.
have.
Yeah, and if someone could do it, it would be a TLR, and that's pretty much the reason why I'm disappointed.
Right.
They had over a year of development on this car alone, not even like modeling this car and testing the parts initially, and the idea of a concept of this car, the rear end geometry and all that. That probably was even like 2021 or sorry 2020 at the end of 2020 design, I do think. But then they brought out the car at Silver State last year. The thing I'm disappointed at is they have the most amount of money in RC. They have one of the best designers in RC, Barry, and they do have probably one of the fastest, or if I'd say the fastest guy in RC, Fend. So they have all the tools of dominating RC and releasing a car that's unbeatable with a driver that could be unbeatable with a car like that. The thing why I sort of think um, this car is a bit of a disappointment to me is because they've been refining this car since 2021 and they've designed it probably in late 2020. But when now this car is released, there's nothing sort of amazing about it. They have one of the best designers as Barry, they have one of the best drivers as Fan, and they have the biggest budget in RC because they are backed by Horizon. So there's no reason for them to say we are just doing this refinement, we're looking for our path. No, they should know their path. Barry and some people in TLR should know what to do to make a dominant car and win everything because they have probably the fastest driver in the world. Maybe not the best, but the fastest, I'd say. So that's the issue why I have the issue what I have with this car.
I'm sure Barry's going to be upset with you now. That's for sure.
I wanted more, but I mean, like, if Barry's listening to this, ask yourself, do you think this is the best RC car you could design?
Oh my gosh.
Like he should go to the mirror if he's listening to this. Like, walk to the bathroom, look at the mirror, and say, "This is the best RC car I could design."
I don't really think I don't think Barry is involved in design too much. I think it's still under.
No, but I mean, like,
yeah, but he has some influence, I would imagine.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, he should, like, be the guy who says, like, this is wrong and this is wrong, and but he doesn't really do that. Like, even when
he
I
doesn't
was
have that. I think Barry's just there as for fan, and that's it. That's his job.
Okay, that makes sense. But I mean, even when I was running for Associated, I had an idea of how to make the car the best car out there, and I sort of had that idea in my mind, and I expressed it to them, but they said like okay, whatever. But they still did all the things that I said, but I mean, half a year late. So,
well, I mean, that's
but
what happens.
The thing is, like, Barry, like, I was just a random guy from Finland who was in the team, but Barry is a guy who
has a voice,
almost a world champion, and one of the, like, most knowledgeable people in America about, like, setup and stuff. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed, and I mean, I don't blame
you're
Barry,
disappointed.
I know
you was just expecting more. Let's just just get this straight so people don't get upset. We're not dissing the car. I'm excited to see how it does in the hands of the people, because it's been everywhere. It's all on social media. Everybody got that. That's great. So now we see how it is, because I used to hear the complaints from the regular drivers of how hard the car was or why it didn't work and all this type of stuff. And they would always say, well, Fenn and Cav have different cars from us. You know what I mean? And I even heard that at Silver State, So now that they should have the same cars, and let's see how it works. They did release, I like the e-buggy Nitro conversion, which seems to be pretty cool.
It's all right. But I think that
they did that with their Truggy.
Yeah, but X-Ray did that before, then they went away from it. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's cool that you have the same chassis, you just switch the sort of side guard.
Yeah, but I don't think you can switch cars. Like, you still want to have two cars.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing why I think X-Ray went away from it too. It's better to optimize two chassis than compromise two.
Right. I mean, JQ Racing did it at the end too, but I get what
but I mean, they did because they wanted to get stuff out of stock. Pretty much, they wanted to get rid of them cars.
Let's look at something else. So, seen in the pits, courtesy of Circus RC, this past weekend.
By the way, before Barry wants to kill me, I do think the car is gonna be better than the car before, and I do think the things he said they needed to fix. I think those things are fixed.
Right.
And I think he is sort of doing what he said he would do, but I'd want him to do more because I know he's better than this. That's sort of my argument.
Jason, you just like, wow. All right. I love it when you're like, wow, you're super spicy today. I love it. You're back.
But I mean, isn't he? Like, the thing is, like, if I was one of the most influential people in designing a car and then this is what we would end up with, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, that's gonna be upset at you. But we have to put in context.
I don't know, maybe I expect more of myself. So.
Yeah, well, also, like I said, we'll just see they're happy. It was good to see, like, everybody's like all these TLR guys have been waiting for a new car for so long, or an updated version. And so it's good to see.
And the thing is here, if you're a guy who's like now, like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna buy the new TLR because Max said it's shit, but I like my old TLR. No, you can buy it if you like TLR, and you can buy it if you like want to be like Fend and want to have fun in RC. you can buy it. And if you want to buy, if you're thinking now, oh, Associated maybe is better, or maybe HB is better because S-Works is running their shocks and rear end. Yeah, it's okay, and it's
This
probably,
is RC.
in my opinion, better than a TLR. But buy what you have. You get parts for what your friends use, what you think is fun. If you think TLRX looks cool and you like Barry, go ahead and buy it. I'm not the guy who says like, don't buy a TLR. You need to buy a Mayako because that has the right design concept. I'm saying these things because these are my opinions. I'm not saying like you should do exactly what I say. I say something I think, and then you make your conclusions after that. And I'm happy to help someone with a TLR and says, oh, my car doesn't have enough rear grip coming out of corners. Because I know some people will say that because that's how the car is designed. And I'm happy if you message me on Facebook, I'll answer you. And I'm really, really happy to help anyone with a TLR or an S-Works or whatever car you're running. And I'm not going to say you need to change to a Mayako like Joseph will. But the thing I'm trying to say here is this is my sort of designing mind speaking.
Right. I understand that. I understand that. See,
Yeah.
what I think it comes down to is just people just don't really understand on that side of things how long you've been doing this, even though you're only 21, but you've been doing, you've been around, like one of the smartest, let's be honest, like, oh geez, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. The dumbest, smartest person in RC I've ever met, or period, JQ. But so when it comes to things like this, and I know like you're going to school to geek out on this shit, so I get it from a design. You're looking at it as a strictly engineer, like engineer mind. I know many engineers, and I know your opinion is gonna offend people, but that's what I want them to understand. It's your engineer brain kicking in, and I get that. But I'm happy for everybody, and let's see how it does. I think I heard TLR's like going to the ENATs in force next week. So
should we talk about that? TLR is missing the vision base. Is that a beef between Live RC and Horizon, or what's going on?
No, I actually want to I don't know if I want to talk about that this week or I want to talk about that next week, because it's all about,
maybe we save it for next week then.
We'll
that was
for next
juicy
week
when I heard that,
because I actually have a rant planned around that. Okay. So I want to save that for next week.
That's a cliffhanger for the listeners. So
yeah, I had a great conversation with somebody about that the other day, and we kind of came to the same conclusion. But we'll save that for next week. All right. So also seen in the pits at the Euros is the S-Works rear end that Max is so fond of. Tell me what's going to. All right, look, go into science mode, and you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I don't know why they did like this huge reveal, because this is still the same stock geometry. I think these bits are only done for durability. I heard people say they had issues with the S-Works blocks breaking, and I guess this is for durability, because geometry-wise, I don't see anything drastic. They have the stock hop, looks like a stock arm. The pivot is still wide, but the thing that people saw and got
excited about,
what they're excited about, was the HP shocks. So they're running HP shocks, and I think this is Boots cars. So
really,
yeah. So
I just noticed that too.
Yeah. So S-Works drivers said they had released a lot of improvements to the shocks, but they were still apparently shit, and they went to HP shocks. The interesting thing now is, in the past it used to be Kyosho. Associated used to run Kyosho shocks. Even HP drivers at some point, if I'm not wrong, used to run Kyosho shocks. Savoia used to run Kyosho shocks on his TLR. So Kyosho shocks used to be the old thing, but I don't know why they the HP shocks on the S-Works. But okay, yeah, I don't. Shocks to me are a silly thing to switch, because there really isn't that much of a difference between different shocks, and you can make all shocks handle the same if you know how they work. So to me, there's nothing interesting here, but mostly just funny things like durability of blocks and the HP shocks. And they might have changed the geometry a bit, but I mean, the changes are going to be so small you can't really see by the eye.
Okay, cool. Cool. I think that's all we kind of really had to talk about. I don't really have any other kind of news. I'm just scouring live RC. Like I said, I want to save the Visions race for next week, which you, if you're on the fence. By the way, I heard that that they waived the
Yeah, I heard that too.
I heard they waived the $150 fee.
Yeah.
And I also want to say that I see like using like Jacob Peterson, who races with Race Time and all this stuff. But I think this. I'll save my rant for next week. I'll save it for next week because I think that kind of experience a little bit like what RCGP is kind of experiencing.
Yeah, and
from the manufacturer side of things.
Yeah.
From the manufacturer
it's
side
funny.
Of things.
It's funny to me that people thought it was Joseph's fault or RCGP doing stuff differently that manufacturers would want to join. But now when we see live RC, everyone's like, everyone knows live RC and everyone knows these guys, and then manufacturers still don't join.
Like, I'm so frustrated at that. I'm so frustrated at that. But I'm saving that round for next week. I'm saving that round for next week.
I'm not frustrated, but I'm happy that I was right again.
Right, and that's exactly along the same lines of the conversation that I had with this person about that. But I even look. I'm gonna geek out on this because I even worked out a list of like each team has enough drives where they could have sent one group of person to each one of these races, and I think that's what I really think that every manufacturer, if Mayako had a driver like a fast driver in America that could go and compete with, I'd be like, hey, you need to go. I'd be like, JQ, that guy needs to go, because I think every manufacturer needs to get behind this. But we'll save that round for next week, because I'm gonna go on my soapbox. Max, so being as this is all about Euros, and we'll have Martin Owen on later, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about the 10 scale Euros that we had last week. But what an awesome, JQ and I kind of freaked out over it this past weekend. But what an awesome 10 scale Euros we had last week. I haven't said it. Congratulations to Mark. I think for me, like Tommy Hall winning was great. I thought that was freaking awesome. Like UK kid winning in the UK. Thought that was awesome. But then when I saw Marcus Karup, I think that's Karup, when he won, and like hit the emotions from his dad and him, I was just like, man, that's kind of like what RC is all about. And like his dad's a 2-time touring car champion. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I like the fact that it's a father-son, because I don't think there's many in RC.
No,
maybe they could be even the only ones.
This is the first where their father's a national champion and his son's a national. And at 14,
a European champion too.
European champion, sorry.
Yeah.
At 14 years old. 14 years old. He's a big 14, by the way. Big 14.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think I do agree with your assessment of Marcus being more impressive. Marcus's win being more impressive, because the thing is,
he made both mains, and he was a factor in both mains, and unfortunately Tommy didn't make the second main, four drive main.
Exactly. Marcus was there for both mains. Marcus was there at the EOS round earlier on this year, and he's I think even younger than Tommy is, and
he's 14. Tommy's like 16.
Yeah, so that's why I think Marcus is more impressive. He's already showed he has speed. He's showed it twice last week, whereas Tommy just showed it once. So to me, Tommy is under more pressure. He knows this track. He lives probably an hour away from this track. He's been here years and years, and this year he probably was there. Marcus went there to practice. Okay, he went there for the warm-up, I think, but at least he went there to practice before the race. But still, he managed to be there in both classes in the main. And this is the type of track where Neil Gregg and Lee Martin, if it was, let's say, 5 years ago, Lee Martin and Neil Gregg and Michal Orlowski, these three would just dominate everyone. But now Lee didn't make the main in Tour Drive, I believe, or he was just the last in or something.
No, he didn't. He didn't make the main.
Yeah, and Michal made a third in Tour Drive. Tour Drive, he was not even in the podium.
Yeah.
So I think Marcus's showing was great. I think Noha Ben Mohammed, who finished third in Tour Drive, his showing was great because he's already made an EOS main and on a very different surface. The surface was EOS carpet. So It's fucking starting to rain here.
I'm like, I heard some noise. It must
Yeah.
be okay. So that's rain. So that's actually, I thought it was white noise, people, but that's rain.
Yeah.
So that doesn't only, so it's coming on pretty hard. Max is kind of outside, but we will fight through the rain. We will fight through the
let's
rain.
hope it doesn't get worse.
Like, we hope it doesn't like drip on you.
No, I'm on the
Okay.
on the ceiling.
It is pretty loud.
Yeah, it's not even raining yet. It's just.
Well, you're gonna have to talk a little louder. All right. So for me, Marcus was the more impressive. He's also done it on EOS level, and getting involved with Orlowski. I think the biggest losers of this race are Schumacher, home track. Orlowski, not. Did he podium? No, did he podium? I can't remember.
He podium in two-wheel drive.
Oh, that's loud. That's loud. Super loud. So yeah, I don't know what to think about that. But it was super impressive. I thought it was great for RC. I thought it was great for the BRCA and just feel good type of situation. And like, we don't see that much. We haven't seen that for a while. I think maybe since probably Orlowski. And it's just good to see, now, if you ask me which kid do I think has, and this is no disrespect to the holes, but I just think which kid I think would, out of those two that's going to probably make it, it's going to be Kara, because he's just doing it more on an international stage. He was at the EOS, mixing it up with Orlowski. I talked to like Barkan knows him really good, and Barkan's like this kid's good, and he's good in Nitro, and he's good. I was like, really? So he's definitely going to be one to watch. And hopefully Tommy Hall and his brother, which I thought was really cool. They were actually racing each other at one point in which is really cool. I hope we see them also further their career and maybe travel a little bit internationally. And but Karab's 14, Noah Ben Muhammad's 12. They have time. Joseph and I kind of talked about this too. Like, do these kids now start getting the deals or whatnot? But I also feel like, yes, you're a European champion, which is great. Four-wheel drive European champion. That's awesome. But I don't think there should be immediate pressure on you to be like winning your next every race and whatnot. So I know Max is quiet because it's probably raining really loud there. So
listen to this.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a break while the rain stops and come back. And we're gonna go to some Beach RC bench racing Q&A questions. Right. Thank you. We're gonna go right into, we don't have many, but we're gonna go into the Beach RC bench racing Q&A. Thank you to Beach RC for all the support. Remember, everybody, there is an affiliate link that you can use. It's out a lot. And I hope you guys are enjoying this old school, long-winded podcast.
BeachRC.com, the racers' one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lux Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
So Max had to relocate because the rain was too hard. So he's now in what looks to be the master bedroom. So, hey, man, this is how we do it. We're bringing podcasts from you from all sorts. This is the Beach RC bench racing Q&A. We didn't get much questions this week. We kind of have a new banner, so people didn't see it. Sometimes things get lost, but we kind of put these questions up a couple weeks ago, and I thought I was going to have you on, but you got sick. So we do have a few questions that we have to go to and talk about. But thank you to Brent and Lucas and everybody at Beach RC for their support. I just placed the order there for my techno truck. If you guys can, we have an affiliate link. It helps us out a lot. Brent and Beach put a lot of money back into RC, so let's try and show them some love. And it helps the podcast out, and we need all the help that we can get. So, and thank you for the questions. We enjoy them, and Max gets to go in science mode, and I get to snooze. Not unless I'm really into the questions.
Yeah.
So, all righty. Let me find the questions, and we can go ahead. So, Joe Jenkins. Now, this is actually a question I love talking about. I'm interested in the money side of RC. How much are these top elite drivers earning to race RC? And how much of these RC companies worth as a whole? With everybody and their brother being sponsored, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of room left on the table for big profit margins. Well, Joe, there isn't much room left on the table for big profit margins. And these guys aren't selling hundreds of thousands of units every quarter like a lot of people think.
No.
And there aren't guys out there making millions of dollars. I would say the last I checked and the last I heard, I'm going to use Mayfield, for example. I was told that roughly his salary, from what I heard, was roughly $10,000 to $12,000 a month. That's a good salary. Don't get me wrong.
But make sure that's not from Mugen. That's from everyone.
No, exactly. So he gets paid from every sponsor that these guys get is paying them something, plus probably giving them contingency and obviously free parts. So he doesn't have to pay for any. I mean, he probably does. But and also a lot of these companies may give some travel budgets. So there's a lot of different things that work into this. So what happened with like guys like Mayfield and Rivkin and even Tiba and these guys, they were all sponsored by MX for a very long time, and they all got a very comfortable paycheck from contingency and help for travel because the gentleman who's now passed away, he really enjoyed RC, and it was more, he was just a rich guy. So yeah, like it's hard to sell that to somebody too. Like, hey, and look, I'll be honest with you, it maybe is 3 guys making that type of money in RC, maybe a little bit more, but the rest of the guys are like, if they're doing 8 skill only and stuff like that, maybe 5 to 6 a month, maybe less than that. You know what I mean?
So it depends really what
and contingency as well.
Yeah. So some drivers who generally this is the case. So if you're a younger driver who's really fast, generally you make more from contingency. Someone like Orlowski, someone like Rimkin's not that anymore, but I bet he probably was that before. Ongara was that before. But I think now he's on the sort of high paycheck level, not the high contingency level.
Right.
So those guys, they win so much that most of their earnings are from contingency. So, like, for example, when Robert Batty won the Worlds, he got, if I'm not wrong, he got 25 or 30K.
That's how much I heard.
From Novorossiysk alone. From Novorossiysk alone. Yeah.
That's maybe why they're bankrupt.
Maybe. But, like, winning a Worlds, you get, in contingency, you get anywhere between 30 to 50K. Generally.
I would agree with that.
But it depends. Like, for example, when I was running for Alpha, my bonus for Worlds was, I think, 15,000 or something. But I mean, obviously, I have never been good enough.
Right. We're talking about winning the Worlds.
Yeah. So that's an engine manufacturer from Taiwan, Alpha. So, and PR Racing, my bonus for Worlds would have been, I think, 10K. So if I was a guy like Orlowski or a guy like Donna Hatanen, who is able to win the Worlds, and I have my deals set, I know for a fact that if I won the Worlds at one point and collected all the sponsorships from someone else than Joseph, pretty much, I could have been in a point where winning a Worlds would net me 30K, without no negotiation, just contract offered to me from collecting these around like the brands I ran. Yeah, contingencies. Schumacher, even, I can't remember the prices, but even then, when I ran them, I had like winning years and Worlds, I would get like 10,000 or something.
Right.
So,
and not just winning, because just to clarify, people do get money for so.
Oh yeah.
Just so it's not just winning, but you will get contingency per race you go to. So like, so okay, example, first to 10th might be a big gap. Like first you get 30K at the Worlds, 10th maybe you got 3K. You know what I mean? or
Yeah,
whatever.
no. But the world's, if I remember correctly, all the papers I've seen, sort of Associated, Schumacher, Alpha, all of these, generally it's a few thousand up to 10,000 from
Right.
winning Euros. And worlds are generally always something like 10,000, 5,000, 15,000, depending on what type of contract that is. Finishing in top 10 at worlds is generally 500 to 1,000. Finishing top 3 is like a few thousands or
Right.
always. But that's sort of around the numbers where they are. But
Right.
the difference between someone like David Ronefalk and a Michal Orlowski 5 years ago is the fact that you could pay Michal $1,000 a month and he'd be happy for that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas David Ronefalk, where he's paid by HV or now by Mayako or Spencer Rivkin or any of these guys who are already established, already European or world or Raw national champion, and like a big name, Fend, like these big guys in RC. These guys make most of their money, most likely from monthly salary.
Yeah, I would agree.
I bet.
So these guys, those guys get salaries, but not everybody. Like there's some guys that may get some salary, but trust me, being an RC driver is like all about getting travel money, some extra money. Like when you're when there's lower levels of being a pro, like it's a grind, man. It's a grind.
And the thing is, for a chassis manufacturer, especially because chassis manufacturer generally pays the travel. Most of the time, it's you pay someone's salary, be it 70K a year, and then you double that because of the travel. You know, that's basically how it works, really, especially for Europeans.
Basically, what's happening is we are spending a lot of money for professional racers. And basically not using them in a professional way, because people not. I mean, to be honest, companies like Kyosho, companies like TLR and Associated, they have their ready to runs and all that stuff that kind of allow them to give bigger budgets and bigger money to these drivers. And then you have a company like Mugen who's race only, and like their salary for like. We've heard, like, I don't know how true it is. Maybe it's more now, but this is what I was told, and this is a few years ago, that like Mayfield made like $1,500 a month from Mugen. And then but if you break it down, that's only 500 because he races 3 classes, but he still gets that. Plus, he obviously gets contingency. I think he gets contingency from like Mugen, Japan. It's so much wheeling and dealing going on in RC.
And the thing is that a lot of drivers get paid by distributors as well. So, for example, Kyle McBride, what I heard is he gets paid half by S-Works, half by the distributor.
Right.
What I know, Savoya gets paid fully, I believe, by distributor, but I'm not sure. So also Yero Maiguan, he made a 20-year deal with Kyosho France. Now he's running for X-Ray. Because that 20-year deal ran out. But pretty much making money in RC is not that easy as, hey, you're a Ferrari F1 driver and you make 5 million a year.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's like you're driving for high-tech servos, you have TCO tires, you have techno car, you make 500 there, 1,500 there, 2,000 there, and then you end up with something between 5,000 and 15,000 a month.
But you can lose that like quickly, just like this podcast. Invisible Speed pays, TCO pays, BRCA pays. These people pay, but not saying they're guaranteed to pay at the end of the year. That's the problem you have as well. So it's a very difficult.
If you're someone like Mayfield who doesn't have social media, who doesn't do anything except for racing, if he starts to suck, like sort of like Cavalieri,
what does he fall back on?
But if he had a year like Cavalieri's had these past 2 years, Mayfield, like, what the hell would he do? Like, obviously he must have his other plans, and
I think
he has his life sorted out. Yeah, but the thing is, like, Mayfield at this point doesn't have what Drake has. Drake,
Right.
like,
But
if Drake was just a driver, he would
he'd
have
be all right.
gone bad like years ago. But because Drake is what he is, he's a figure, a personality inside RC. He has a job for life, pretty much.
Right. And also, I want people to understand something. He's like, Drake is an employee of Mugen. I believe he works for Mugen. I think Drake is obviously going to be like the Mugen, like in charge of Mugen USA by the end of this, taking over from Chris Moore. And then Drake is making a killing on his Drake and he's cashing in on his brand, which I don't blame. And even when people think like when you see these pro guys going to these smaller big races, they're getting paid to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you see Drake at a race somewhere and you're like, whoa, there's nobody else there but him, he's being paid to be there. Like he's getting expenses paid. He's probably making some money. Like he'll do a clinic and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's getting paid to be there. So if you think that these drivers there are drivers that just go to races too. Don't get me wrong. But if you think a driver's flying across, from across America to go to your race and go for free, that's not how it works. These guys have their prices and their fees and all that type of stuff. And that's I have no issue with that. That's how they have to make money. So it's just so like it's not like you said, it's not like, hey, here's $5 million. You now drive this. It's so many like every little company that you get, you pretty much every company that's on your car as a pro has to be contributing financially somehow, some way. You know what I mean? So that's how it is.
One thing,
and it could be like $150 a month if you run this air filter. You know what I mean? That's what I'm paying.
Yeah. It's like a lot of people have like T-Work sponsorship and they pay them like $250 a month.
Yeah. So
but one thing I want to touch on is the actual number we should be interested in because we are interested in RC doing well, is how much hobby shops make and how much brands make. Mm-hmm. And that's a much more difficult one because that's hard to know. But for example, in Finland, the hobby shops, the money they make, around 10% is from racing.
Yeah, exactly.
And these brands make all of these hobby shops in Finland will go out of business unless they sell RTRs. But they're doing quite well because they sell RTRs.
That's what keeps them afloat.
And the thing is, like Traxxas and Arma, their revenue is in 10 million, like tens of millions of dollars a year. Whereas someone like HB, Associated Race Cars,
Race Side.
So Associated Race Side, I bet their revenue is under 10 million a year.
You're giving it more than what I would give it.
Yeah.
But so that's the answer to that, like, Joe.
Yeah.
We don't.
And the thing is, like, they are not making huge profits. That's what I'm gonna say. But yeah, that's the worrying.
It's an act of passion. This is a passionate sport, and you're doing it. No, don't get me wrong. There's people making money. Oh yeah, they're making money. They're making money. But making money.
There are few people only. That's the issue here. Like, I know, like top drivers can make. Yeah.
Like not everybody's out there making $100,000 either. You know what I mean?
That's the number we should be really focused on, and what really makes RC good is how racing is going to be more profitable. Mm-hmm. And if you look at, for example, Formula One, the way they make money is just advertising.
Mm-hmm.
How Red Bull Racing makes a profit is they make the profit by getting Oracle and by getting Bybit to pay them hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So how RC makes money is having this huge circle jerk and giving people 20% discounts so they would run TLR instead of Associated or whatever band it is. I'm not singling them out, but those are the most common bands in America.
Right.
That's the issue we have here. These companies think that by milking the customers out, this sport is going to thrive. I do think the smartest ones know that that's not how it works, but that's how they think they can make it work for themselves. And that's why there simply isn't a racing thing in the world that makes money by just by racing. without advertising for outside
Exactly.
sponsors. Be it motocross, Monster Energy, Rockstar, EDC, or be it F1 with car brands putting a lot of money for exposure, as well as Ferrari, for example, has DHL as a sponsor, or sorry, UPS as a sponsor. Red Bull has said had Oracle and Bybit.
Big names, but they have the big audience too. The problem is RC just doesn't have a product yet.
Exactly,
but
and that's the
you
issue.
You know what? We're not gonna go. You know what? I know we want to go on this.
This is
part of the rant for next week. But we want to. That was salaries, and that's it. We're not gonna, because we're gonna say that for next week. Because what you're saying has a lot of value to what we're saying next week.
We went on for 20 minutes on this, but talking about money and how it works is complicated in RC, and like this is how you see. Like we went on for 20 minutes about talking about how people get paid and how this works. And when you know how all of this works, you start to understand why it's so fucked and why we talked about it every week. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Real quick, Benjamin James, with Raw hosting 10 skill offer worlds in 2023, would you like to see it run on dirt or clay or carpet? Here's what I think should happen for the 10 skill worlds next year. I think they should put it at South Point, Las Vegas. Run it indoor on carpet because that's the future. It's easy for everybody, all the manufacturers to go to. They don't need hire cars. They don't need it's easy to get to. Las Vegas is a hub. Everybody can get to. You can I think that's what you need to do. Just put it there. I know a lot of people ain't gonna like that, but I know IFMAR isn't gonna do that because it can cost too much money. But that's what I would do.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I would put it at the where they have the Florida Carpet Championships in. If it's going to be in carpet and it has to be a track, I will put it at the Florida Carpet Championships track. If it's going to have to be dirt and it's going to be clay, we have to be honest. The only other place that can really hold it is Hobby Action, Arizona.
Yeah, but that's not good.
Yeah, but it's good. The people can fly into LA, drive to Arizona. That's what they would do.
Yeah, but the thing is, holding the worlds at Hobby Action would be like holding the worlds at Ongara's backyard.
Yeah, well, it'd be better to have it in Vegas at South Point with that.
The thing is, the issue, in my opinion, especially in 10 scale, is there are so many surfaces and there are so many different type of things. So if the worlds were held in Hobby Action, like Hobby Action would say, oh, our track doesn't work if you don't use additives. So then IFMAR would allow additives and you would everyone be using additives and saucing there. And it would be a fucking shit show. It'd be the fucking dumbest thing ever. It's just a tire war type of situation where you use additives and Dremel it like every single American races. So in my opinion, exactly, clay races. So in my opinion, the only viable options are a carpet race, like you said, or at South Point or in Florida. I'm fine with that. Or you go to Chico and run on sugar like you did in 2013.
Yeah,
because that's an unknown to everyone at this point.
Yeah,
you know,
that'd be awesome.
And I think, to me, World should be events outside of the regular yearly program. Because Worlds are the only events where funding isn't an issue, really. We can go to Jakarta for Worlds. We can go to Pattaya for Worlds. And we can go anywhere for Worlds, really, because that's the race that are going to be a race no matter what. Sort of. All brands are going to be there no matter what. Except for what Americans are trying to do right now, not going to Redawan. Like, at least threatening not going to Redawan.
Yeah, I heard that too. I haven't heard much. But I'm hearing it's because of tires.
Yeah, but that's just a silly excuse. The thing is,
okay, so you heard that too. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
No, I haven't heard any. Like,
okay.
Rona didn't have any tires at the World's warm up, but
that was because they were stuck in customs. Don't worry about that now. They need to start sending tires now. I wanted to.
Either way, I think the issue is that World shouldn't be held at Robin Hood and Astro, and they shouldn't be held at Hobby Action on clay with saucing, because those are races that are very sort of locally favored. They're not an
So you're saying the
race.
same thing that the Americans are saying about the Worlds that's coming up now.
No, but Redovan it's not something like specific, because 10 scale is different.
Right.
If the Worlds were held at Ongaro's track, okay, yeah, the fact
On
that
AstroTurf.
this is on AstroTurf, on 8
Yeah.
scale, 8 scale Worlds were held on Ongaro's track on AstroTurf. Yeah, fuck that. That's not fine. The thing about it, why I have a different opinion of racing at Baldo's own track at Redovan and racing at Hobby Action or Robin Hood on Astro, or Hobby Action at Clay and Robin Hood on Astro. The reason why I have is because those are very specific type of conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the Worlds to be held at Montpellier, but I love the race at Montpellier, Montpellier GP. I don't want the race being held at Hobby Action, but I always watch the races at Hobby Action when they happen. The Reed Desert Cactus Classic, or what Desert Classic, whatever it is. Those races are specific and they work for that event. I don't want the Worlds to be at Neo at Harper Adams. I want the Neo to be at the Harper Adams. You see what I mean?
Yeah. I get
These
it.
races are specific and they work for that type of event. World should always be a different venue, a newer venue, or an old sort of heritage venue that doesn't have an established big race or an established crowd that's super good there. Being held, like when the Worlds went to Itabe Arena, I was like, fuck this. But then the Japanese have a lot of honor, and they shot everything.
Just did a flat track,
They did a flat track and shot themselves at the leg, made the track the worst possible for Yokomo. So like, okay, that's good. But and even when the Worlds were last time in Chico, they had the Roar Nats there, like silly stuff. I don't think World should be held at Redovan, but I'm fine with them being at Redovan because Redovan is sort of, they're gonna change the layout. That's, the track is generic enough where I don't think the advantage is gonna be too hard to overcome. Testament started first in the main. Testament TQ'd rounds at the World's warm-up. There's no excuse for Americans. But if the Worlds were held at this track where the Euros, 10 scale Euros were held at, in 10 scale Worlds.
I get what you mean, because it's a specific, that not every, I've got some feedback coming in here.
Yeah, but
can you hear that?
There are some feedback, but it's very light. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make, which is, it's hard to sort of, this could just be my opinion. I'm not really sure yet, but I do find a big difference between the Worlds being held at Redovan, because if the Worlds were held at Redovan, it's like the Worlds were held at anywhere, any track in America. And that's, to me, that's fine, because there's like, if it was held at the dirt, I'm fine with the Worlds being held at the dirt. But I don't think they should be held at the dirt, because it has the Dirt Nitro Challenge, and it's kind of a specific track. But in 10 scale, there are much more narrow areas. There is that tire game of Hobby Action, and there is that sort of bouncy Astro that's been there for tens of years of Robin Hood Raceway that just held the Euros. I think those tracks are very specific, and they have been there for years and have their own purpose in RC for years. Yeah, and World should be something new that doesn't really have that or like behind them. That's my opinion.
So continuing on with that, he asks, in 2024, the word is, well, according to the rules, that America would hold the 2024 Worlds for 8 scale, right? So he asked, what facilities do you think would be good for this? So I actually had this conversation yesterday. If I was to hold a Worlds in America next, like in 2024, because now that as I would do it. See, people have to understand, it's not just about the track. It's the facility. That's one thing I've learned working with RCGP, you also need a great facility to pull off a great race. So you have to, it's not just enough to have a track and a bathroom, to have a world. And they actually have a lot of specifications that you need for worlds. So if I was going to have a worlds in America, I would vote for like Thornhill because it's a great facility and it doesn't matter about weather. I would vote for Southside in Florida because it's another great facility and people can fly into Miami, people can fly into Orlando. I know the guy was arguing if he was like, but All Out. I said, well, maybe All Out should put in a bid because they're putting a lot of money into that facility in Orlando too. But I said, it's not just the track, it's the facility. You have to have this and, it's a lot of things you have to have a worlds. They have requirements that you have to have as a track. That's why they're not cheap. So
and you need to sort of understand that people come from all around the world. They thousands of dollars in flying tickets, and if you come to some fucking desert in the middle of Arizona and with a big track, you're gonna be pissed. No one like the difference between sort of American racing and European racing is like Americans a lot of times come with their own tables and come with their generators and all of that stuff, and they have their own air pressure and all that.
Right, but in Europe, that's not common.
In Europe, what we're used to is you come there, you have a table, you pick one.
I saw that.
You have water running, you have bathrooms. Like that's the sort of that's the reason why in Europe it's a bit easier to get the worlds there always. Because
right, and I saw that
every
in Italy.
facility almost have that.
Yeah. I saw that in Italy. The difference, and another great facility would be like Thunder Alley has all of that. There's lots of facilities that can hold it, but
Thunder Alley even is too small.
It's too small. I think it's too small.
You need to understand. Like we need to remember, it's 200 people.
Yeah,
and it's the world.
I mean, it could be done, but I just think you have to look at ease of people to get to places too. Especially America, and Miami is a big hub.
That's why.
Dallas is a big hub,
But IFMAR doesn't care about that. They put the worlds in the middle of nowhere in Brazil, where you have to fly like 4 hours away.
Right, and as much as I would love to go to Brazil, I don't, and I'm sorry to all my Brazilians. I get it, you guys want to have a worlds, but I think the next world should be in America. Like I think you should just follow along, and then when it's Farmar's turn again, they get their turn. Farmar. So. I think when you think of the other facility that I think of that comes to name that can, and the people that let's get something straight, people. The facility needs to have people there that are going to run the race as well. Like IFMAR isn't sending an entire crew of people to run a race. You have to work in coordination with the people that run the facility. So the only other place I can say would be LCRC, but then again, that's like kind of like a hard place to get to. But the facility is awesome. The people that run the facility are awesome and have and you have to have a lot of experience in running one of these races because it's very complex and it takes a lot of getting used to. So I would say Florida. I like Thornhill. I think you can. I don't know how, but people can fly into like that Dallas, and people just have to understand like international hubs like Orlando, Atlanta, Miami, one of the biggest hubs in the world. Like these are all easy places for people to fly. LAX. That's why most people fly into LA. Like it's simple. The closest airport to DNC is Ontario, but everybody flies into LAX because it's just the easiest flight. To fly to Ontario is going to cost you $300 more and put 20 more hours on your flight. And you can fly into LAX and just rent a car and drive to DNC, 3 hours to DNC. So those are the things that people have to take into consideration before they just like, this race could have this track, or this track have. No, it's a big thing. It's a lot that's required. We have one more question, and this is your last Science Minute question. Daniel York, he's a guy from New Zealand. He just got his first JQ Black Edition. What is some of the modifications to do to it to give it more of an edge above the stock version? I think all of that stuff is available. Is that all of that stuff still available on like the JQ? I haven't been on that page in so long.
I think they are. Can't remember what the last edition came with, but
it's been so
generally, there really isn't much to modify on the car. The biggest modification I do is the brakes. So I'd get some, I think S-Works brake pads fit, and then get some, I can't remember if it was associated discs. Yeah,
but you have to Dremel
so
them.
that, yeah, so you have to Dremel them slightly. But I think I could be wrong, but I think S-Works discs work too. But I'm not sure.
I think so too.
But,
I think some people have modified them too.
Yeah.
And
But
another thing that people
discs
do,
can work too.
yeah, another thing people do is put the 2 separate rods in for their brakes, which I think is a good idea. And yeah, just make sure you're getting enough droop too. A lot of times, like even though those arms came notched, people were notching them more. You know what? All of this information is all on the JQ Racing page. I have to, all of it. I know it's hard to find it, but yeah, it's a stable car. And you got to just drive it. Like a lot of people drive their car. A lot of people drive their JQs like the first time and like, oh, this car's a piece of shit. But once it loosens up and gets all sloppy, that's when it's at its best. It's like a point when it's like too sloppy and not too sloppy, and it's just like the car that JQ bought to me for the first time ever, and he came on her and it's like, hey, here's a rental car. I was like, this car is sloppy as fuck. He wants me to drive this, but it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. The car is quite stiff.
The beginning.
Yeah, no, but the sort of geometry and the way the car drives, it feels quite stiff, and sort of, or how would I say it? It feels loose, but it is loose, but it feels that it's too stiff. So
Right.
For a regular driver, it feels that it's too stiff, but because I know what's going on, it is too loose. The sort of setup of the car. So that's why you need to wear the drivetrain out a bit, and then you get the sort of friction in it, and the car has more grip and it feels better. So you need to run it a bit sloppy for sure.
Yeah, and yeah. Make sure you break it in properly, and then I've been talking to this guy for a little bit too. I've just been out of it so long, I've forgotten a lot of it. You know what I mean? But I used to know all these answers right off the bat, but my focus has been elsewhere since I left that. Yeah, man. You know what, Daniel? If you're in our Discord or you're on Facebook as well, hit up Max. Max knows everything about Black Edition, so he can help you out. Much better than me on setup, so that's for sure. Max, so we kind of geeked out. We went long. We had some issues. We had some rain issues. We had audio issues, but we're gonna go. I think that's it for our Beach RC Bench Racing Q&A. Our next up is my interview with the chairman of 10th scale of the BRCA, the British Racing Radio Control Association, Martin Owen, and also co-host or vice host of Extra Lap Podcast, who's an English podcast that belongs to Aidan Bark, and him and Joseph, I don't want to say, Cockhill, I believe his name is. But yeah, Extra Lap Podcast, Martin Owen, he had a great week at the Euros, and we're going to talk all about that and him. Max, we'll be back later on with you and Isherwood to talk about the Euros that's happening now, make some predictions. And thank you for your time. Thank you for geeking out. And I know it's not ideal situation because you're like kind of on vacation, so I appreciate that. And I'll be back with you in a bit. And remember, everybody, there is thank you to Beach RC. There's an affiliate link. If you can use that, it greatly helps us out as well. With that, Max, I'll see you in a bit. And we're off to the interview, the Techno RC main interview with Martin Owen, the Extra Lap Podcast, and the chairman of the 10 scale part of the BRCA.
Techno RC. Techno RC. Techno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.technorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Techno RC. Excellence in engineering. Hashtag Techno Takeover.
So joining me this week He wears many. He has a very interesting nickname. Number one, he's also a podcaster as well. He's wearing a lot of hats on the, but when you have a nickname like the Emperor of Everything, I guess that's what happens. That's Aiden, man.
Yeah,
that's your buddy. That's Aiden.
I know.
Joining me this week is Martin Owen, who is, are you vice host, or are we calling you co-host, or are you guys like all equal on Extra Lap?
No, I would say Aiden is the host and we're kind of vice hosts.
Vice hosts.
You can't get a word in edgeways with him because when he gets going, he doesn't stop. So
he was so quiet on the live stream, though. He didn't talk much.
No, he has his moments. He's like his own podcast is like when he goes to his home race, he kind of gets on it and shows it, and then when he goes somewhere else, he's a little bit off pace. Right.
So this man, Aiden Burke, and Joey Cockhill. I really have a hard time saying those names. I really do, like Cockerel and all that. They're just, my mind just instantly goes to something else. So no offense, Joey. But you guys are the Extra Lap podcast, English podcast, mostly talking about 10 skill racing. They only do 1 hour podcast, and I like us, even though I think this is going to be one of our longer podcasts this year. Also, you are now the chairman of 10 scale for the BRCA.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I took over from Paul Worsley, who'd done it for 25 years. So it was some big shoes to fill.
You got 25 years in you?
Yeah, easily. Yeah, it's not a problem.
Okay, good. That's positive thinking.
Eight months in, yeah, it's easy. No, it's it'll be fine.
You just had a successful Euros. We're going to talk about that. Congratulations. I really enjoyed that. But also, here's a fun fact. You are the only person that I personally know that has earned if you was a 1980s young young boy, and you was into G.I. Joe.
Oh yeah.
This guy had what everybody wanted. He had the aircraft carrier, the elusive aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
The USS Flag. Do you ever regret getting rid of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think with any toys or anything you collect as a kid, you get rid of it and you look back and you go, "Oh, I wish I'd have kept that." Although I think my USS Flag was interesting because it was my dad and my uncle bought the thing, and I don't know if you've ever seen the sticker sheets for one of those. They're huge. Well, I think the sticker sheet started very well, and as they were getting drunk building it, the stickers slowly went very crooked, and I probably had a runway that wasn't very straight on my USS Flag. But somewhere, and I keep looking for them, and I will find them. I have loads of pictures of it.
I hope you do. Yeah. Those things are like $6,000 now.
I know, unbelievable. It's the biggest ever play set someone ever made, I think. So,
yeah.
I mean, I can remember it. Going into, I think it was Toys R Us when we lived in the States, and just it was unbelievable. So.
I remember this being in Bermuda, and Bermuda's always a little bit more expensive, and I just remember it being like $275 in the 80s. Yeah. And back in the 80s, that was like a lot of money. And I was like, Mom, I just want that for Christmas. It's just like, nah. Plus, we don't have space. But yes, thank you for coming on, man. I enjoy you guys' podcast. Aiden and I talk quite a lot, and he's also been a big supporter of me and the podcast, and I try to support you guys as well. But after last week's Euros, I had talked to you about coming on, but after last week's Euros, I was like, man, we got to have you on because that was such a great Euros. And JQ and I talked about it a lot. You and I are going to touch on it, but I want to learn a little bit about you. So where are you from in the UK?
So I'm from the southwest, a place called Bridgewater, which is right down in the sort of between Bristol and like the bottom of Cornwall. So sort of where the little leg of Britain that sticks out in the bottom corner. I'm down there. So I've not lived here all my life. I did live in California, which is an ongoing joke with many people that say, "Oh, do you used to live in America?" And because obviously I was in California in the 80s, as you just said, and did some racing with what turned out to be some very big names, and kind of saw a birth of it a little bit.
How did I wanted to find out, how did you guys end up? How old was you when you moved to the USA, and how did that come about?
So I was 6 when we went over there. My dad got a job with Philips Ultrasound doing building ultrasound machines. He wanted a change of life, and we went over there and on a 10-year contract. So I was there from 6 till 16.
No way. Was you sad when you had to leave and come back to UK?
Yeah, well, it was kind of strange how it happened, because we actually came back to renew our visas after the 10 years, and his job, the company actually collapsed while we were back here on vacation.
Oh wow.
So it was kind of I thought, 2 weeks vacation in the UK turned into, no, we're staying here now. So yeah, it was, but it's opened up many other opportunities. So it is what it is. I mean, California was great. I don't know if I'd want to live there now, but
did you? What part of Cali did you live in back then?
So we lived in Huntington Beach.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. I mean, my neighbor down the road and across the street was Clifflet.
No shit.
So, yeah. So that's I like I said, grew up in the mecca of racing at events that were
in its peak.
Yeah.
10 years. So you went over there in what year? 82. So okay, see how you ran over there in like one of the hottest times of RC.
Yeah.
You saw a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I got into it about 86.
How'd that happen?
We had some friends. My parents were they did this like weird like American square dancing stuff. Very strange. And one of the guys there had a Yokomo and an RC10. And we went to a track called Radio Controlled Hobbies, and at the time it was outdoors. Went and just had a look, and like mostly everyone in this hobby, you've seen it once and you're fixed. And it started there, yeah. And we found the local track. And my local track at the time was somewhere called Hot Tracks, which was the first place they were, I think, had the Reedy race. It was owned by a family. It did a magazine called Competition Plus, which you see pop up every now and then in different articles. And they had this. It was an indoor dirt track. The scary thing is, it was across the road from where OCRC used to be.
No way.
Yeah. So, and I never got back. One of my things I wanted to get back to OCRC just because it's where I kind of started my journey. Would have been just across the road at Hot Tracks. So we raced there for a little bit. That unfortunately closed. And then we moved from there to a place called One Stop Hobbies, which was the smallest little dirt oval track you'll ever see. And we did quite a lot of dirt oval racing. That kind of closed. Did some sprint car racing there, which was unreal.
Yeah, so you had the full American experience.
Yeah. And then I think that near the end of the hobbies was racing at Radio Control Hobbies Raceway in Costa Mesa, which is where I got to meet kind of a lot of people from Associated at the time, and race dirt 4-wheel drive dirt oval, which those things were unreal at the time. They were so fast, even for back then. 4-wheel drive, used to use foam tires on dirt and cover them in WD-40 so it would stick to the track. They were cool. They were chain driven. There was a Custom Works Dominator, which was kind of the popular one, and then there was that's it. And then there was another company, and he was a local guy called Superior, and he made his own car, and it got quite popular because it was actually better than the Custom Works. It had magnesium arms on it. If you Google up Superior SRP1, people still have them.
Really? They must be expensive now.
I mean, I think back then, I'll tell you a funny story in a minute. They're about $600 to $700 back in 88, 89, 90. So
that was expensive.
That was very expensive. And back then, it was skimming motors, and there was a motor company called Twister, which I got to know the owner quite well, a guy called Mike Walker. And that's where I kind of met, and we've had him on our podcast, Rick Howard, who was a massive, kind of racing inspiration to me. And, I kind of went racing with him back when he started Peak Performance. So that was a real cool thing. So always had fast motors and batteries. The whole where this kind of, it sounds unreal, and it was. And I can remember seeing Brian Kimwald when he was very young coming into the hobby at RCH and Reedy races there. Unfortunately, I was like, how can we word it? You see these American kids who just completely lose it when it all goes wrong, and they throw cars and they throw controllers, and
right.
Yeah, that was me.
You was one of those, but
I was one of those. My favorite story, and my mum has always told it very well. We were at Bakersfield, a place called Racers Haven, which is where Tebow started racing.
Okay.
And it was an oval national, and I think I'd made the B, pulled the B, and was not very happy. And I think I broke it in the B, came back to the pits, and apparently, and I kind of do remember it, I actually launched this car across four or five pit tables over a couple of racers' head, straight to the side of a wall. And my mum picked it up and said, "That's it, you're done." And I didn't touch a controller or race again till we moved back here.
No way. Okay,
Yeah.
so you was deep. How long was it your break when that happened?
So we came back in 1992, and I think I kind of got back into racing about 98, 99. So
okay,
I had a wee bit of a break then.
You was a little older. You was probably working as well out of school.
Yeah, and appreciated it more. I mean, I was a spoiled little brat at the track, but it was different back then, Lefty, because there wasn't as many kids.
Okay.
And if you were a fast kid, you were a threat. I can remember adults chasing me off rostrum where you'd like lap them and tap them as you're lapping them, and they'd lose their cool completely.
No shit.
They didn't want to be beaten by a kid.
I remember Tebow talking about that, saying that like Greg and them guys used to haze him so much, like they treated him so bad. And then you talk to Greg and the guys, like, yeah, so what? Like that's what we used to do to everybody that was like they're hazing to him. People would melt if that happened nowadays.
Yeah,
people would melt.
The other thing people don't realize, the hatred between the tracks back then.
The tracks. Not just the teams too. That's not talking about the teams.
The tracks.
Yeah.
I can remember being at One Stop Raceway one night, and there was a very big oval raceway called Ascot. It was a real car track, and they had an RC track, and the owner of it came and like started putting flyers up all around this other track while they were racing. And it was just crazy. Like 10 of them turned up in this like 18 van, jumped out of it, and started putting flyers up on the walls. And it was, the rivalry was unbelievable. I think the team thing was a little bit, the rivalry with Losi and
AE.
And AE was a little bit after I kind of came out of the hobby, but you could see it brewing.
Wow.
You could
Track?
really
I never thought about the track. No, I've never heard that about the tracks, but I can see it happening.
Yeah, it was a real kind of hot pot, should we say, of activity at times. But
that's awesome though.
It's just one of those things you remember and you think, yeah, they did not like each other. And the other thing is, the whole time racing in the States, we only used, if you're going to race two-wheel drive, you drove an RC10. And I find it really strange when people hear talk about vintage racing. They're like, oh, I got this Tamiya or this Kyosho, and you're like, well, we just used RC10s and the odd person had an Ultima, and that was it.
Right. So you missed that time when that was like pre RC10 days,
Yeah.
That's like when the guy in your neighborhood who had a Hornet or Grasshopper was the guy, because his RC car was faster than everybody's.
Yeah.
But that's good. You kind of grew up in an era of RC that I mean, if it wasn't for that era, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
No, for sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've probably seen things that I couldn't remember that were huge at the time and just didn't, as a kid, just didn't really think of. I used to sit there with Mike Reedy as he's skimming motors and talking complete garbage, and you didn't appreciate those times. And now you look back and think, wow, I mean, he actually said to my mum once, he said, I'd love to sponsor this kid, but he's just too insane. I mean, I was awful. Absolutely awful. Probably the complete opposite, where now I probably should lose it every now and then, and I don't. I'm just pretty calm and chilled out.
I mean, I could see Joey being that guy on the podcast, and definitely Aiden, but not you.
Yeah, they can be. They're slower than me, so I don't have to worry about
it. There we go.
Well, they were. Jerry this year stepped it up a little bit, and I think taking on all the things I've taken on have slowed me down a little bit. Probably need some of that visible speed there behind you. That
yes. Hey, but you know what? They're sponsoring the EFRA Euro, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
How did you rediscover RC in the UK then?
Strange enough, I bought a Kyosho, made a mini. I always liked like Mini Cooper S's.
Mm-hmm.
They made a mini, and I ordered one and kind of played around with it outside. And we went to a gathering of real mini enthusiasts, all these Mini Cooper S's, and they had, I think it was Tamiya had a track. It was at sort of a track laid out, and we're having like a Tamiya Euro Cup, or it might have just been a display.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. My mum, being like my driving force in RC, kind of went up there and went, "Oh, my son's got this little Kyosho Mini. Could he have a go with you?" And they were like, "Yeah, we're going to do some races. Come and have a go, but like, you know, we'll wait for him. You can't make him look like a fool." I ended up beating them all, so it was quite funny.
Oh, that's a funny story.
which was quite cool. And funny enough, got a couple of guys that were there I still race with to this day. So
yeah, I can see that.
And that was how I got back into it, and then kind of went and started doing some 10th off road, and it was very different to what I was used to here, racing on grass or AstroTurf and spiky tires. We were used to, you know, loose dirt and bumps. And yeah, just kind of got into it from about 99 till about 2006. And then I had another little 3-year break, or 4-year break, got back into it in 2012 and haven't stopped.
It goes like that.
Yeah.
I got back into it in 2014. Funnily, after being in the UK and getting back racing there, I got my passion going again. I would always say if I had to move, I would move back to the UK and take my family and enjoy 10 scale racing again. But that's good stuff, man. I never really fully had heard your story of how you ended up in America. It's a very interesting story, and you probably did see some stuff and like was around people like that you didn't even realize as a kid. You're just like, it's just another day in California.
Just another day racing. I mean, I can remember being sat at school, and funny enough, Brian Kimball's sister was at my school. Okay. And I can remember sat there and she'd be like, "Oh, Brian's at the track today testing," and I'd get all wound up, like, because I'm stuck in school. Brian, because he was a little bit older, would be there at the track testing. And you know, when you hear the stories about Brian, that's what he did. He went to the track all day and just tried different things and lots of bizarre things with tires, and you know, went on to be the legend that he was and still is.
Yep.
So
amazing. Yeah, amazing. I just find it so weird that some guy from the UK ended up to be around all of that. Like it's amazing how life is, though.
And I like to talk about it, but I don't, because I get it ripped out of me. I mean, there'll be people that'll see this and go, "Oh, there he goes, he's on about California again." But it was cool.
The people that are listening to this won't know that. Like that's why I want to talk about it.
And it's cool because, like we just said, we saw things, and it's hard to explain what it was like, but it was cool. And like when we said, we've had like Rick Howard on our podcast, you know, and it was nice when Rick said to the other two, you know, this kid was fast, and
I did hear that.
You don't realize it, and you know, and it was great. It was cool, and hanging around with like Jay Halsey, who was just an absolute legend, and his dad Jim. I mean, they were just mates that you spoke to down at the track.
Right.
It was you just didn't understand it. And you know, and Cliff going on to be a sort of president was just crazy.
Insane.
It is insane. My mum went back there, I think in 2013, and Cliff and Rick took her out for lunch, and she got some photos at AE with them, and absolutely unreal that still all this time they remembered us and treating us like family.
RC's just a small world. It's very small.
It is. Yeah,
and
it is.
You just know people. You get to know people.
Yeah.
Like I know so many people around the world now. It's like insane.
It's crazy.
All through RC.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Yeah, I know. That's what I think. Rich in relationships.
Yeah.
All right. Extra Lap podcast. I know Aiden formed that. You joined him. You guys have been doing that strong for about 2-3 years now.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's just 3 mates that get on and then talk to some guests. I swear you plan everything because you sound like you plan everything. And I think Joey and Aiden just show up.
No, it is literally sat. Sometimes we forget we're doing it because you just having a chat. And we try to be careful what we say. We don't try to get into any controversy.
We definitely do not do that here.
No, never.
So in fact, I think this podcast, unfortunately, will be very controversial because I've recorded with Max and he had some things to say about the new TLR. So Barry's gonna be upset. But I love you guys. Like I love it. You keep it short. Complete opposite of what I do. Talk and people don't realize, like I say this over and over and over, that carpet turf is the future in America now.
Yeah,
because they're now just catching on. Because I couldn't believe it when I went to my mates, like, hey, we're going to Silverstone tonight for Tuesday night club race.
Yeah,
and I reiterate, we literally showed up there at 6 o'clock. By 7 o'clock, it was like 10, 15 people, maybe not even that much, but 10 people showed up. We rode out, like it was either you rode out 5 rows for a big race or 4 rows for a small race or whatever it was.
That's it.
You rode out the carpet. The guy had whatever track plan he had. It was fire hose filled with gravel or sand. Duct tape that done. While he was doing that, people were building the rostrum driver stand. There was a portable driver stand. And then they had everything, like the jumps were like they were allowed to keep on property, and you just put them down and put duct tape. And in an hour, you had an up and running AstroTurf track, like proper Tuesday night racing, and then get in, get done, like rules. Like I've committed the cardinal sin of just like walking up in the driver's stand. Like I didn't know that it was you had to walk up this way and walk down that way. That was in line. I was like, oh yeah, like just boom. My mate's like, no man, you got to walk up, and then when you walk down that way. And then I was like, well, that makes sense. It's just so much faster. Lots of things like that just made sense. And I honestly, I say this to people all the time because they're like, obviously 702 just closed, right?
Yeah.
And people's like, wow. I was like, yeah, but you're talking about catering to. There's not much racers. You're talking about open up a permanent full-time track for very little people. I said, what's going to have to happen is that in America, they're going to have to adopt how they do it in the UK, and it's using school halls, gymnasiums, church halls, working out a small rental agreement, and just have what I can't fathom about this is we know how much that in America they love to change tracks. But you can have a different track every time you do this. So I honestly feel that you guys have been doing it for so long, and now the Americans are kind of catching on. It's so much more carpet racing and AstroTurf racing going on in America now, and dirt is going on because I think it's just easier. I know when I did it, I took a B5M, put some Schumacher tires on it, and you just got traction. You got traction. You can drive. You may not be the fastest out there, but you can still have fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the biggest draw with Astro and carpet is you can't really cheat. You can't use additive. There isn't a magic, our tire rule at Nationals is you can take things away from it. You can't add anything to it.
Okay.
So you can snip stuff off, but you can't glue on extra spikes. And that's a great thing. It takes the tire game out of it. There's no sanding of tires. There's no additive. There's nothing. And as you know from your time over here, we don't do stock racing. You come in race modified, and that's it.
Joey Fisher.
Yeah, Joey. Bless him.
Oh, my God. Him and I were having a discussion yesterday about where the world should be in 2024. It was amazing. Well, Joey is the stock king. Yeah, no stock racing. You just run what you bring. That's it.
I mean, when I was a kid, stock racing is you went and did it. As soon as you won stock, they kicked you out. You went to modified.
Yeah, that
And
doesn't happen anymore.
And now it's a class, but
Too much money wrapped up in it.
yeah. But it's it's made itself, and you're never going to change it out there. That's in the States. That's the way it is. They like it. Why not? But is it producing? I mean, they do have the best drivers in the world at the moment with Mayfield and Cav and Rifkin, but
Fenn.
is it?
You didn't put Fenn in there. We got to put Fenn in there.
Can't
Fenn is the best
forget
overall.
Mr. Fenn. Yes,
he's the best on all surfaces, I think, right now.
But is this continue stock racing? Does it get
no
the modified guys? I mean, Matty G, for example, he's amazing driver to watch him. His skills are great to watch him. But is he going to come up to modified, or is it he's happy where it is, which is fine?
Well, he's in modified now, but he's struggling. So, but it's part of the. But we've seen this with many other young stock drivers too. Drayton Staub was one of them. I remember when he came up, when he went Yokomo JC, came up to the pro rank, let's say pro ranks modified.
Yeah,
was not good. Went back down to stock. I mean, and now he barely races. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do like that they have a different, that's a road to becoming a pro, but it just needs, I think it just comes down to this. I remember Joey was me and Joey had this argument. He was like, the stock racers would beat, if the modified guys ran stock cars, they would still lose. They would lose to the good stock racers. And I said, no. I said, the cream will always rise to the top, and those guys will win wherever. You know what I mean? Because they're just that more talented. It doesn't matter what the power of the car.
Yeah. I mean, my issue with stock racing is you can cheat.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's not stock. It's just pro stock mod is what they call it, I think. Or we're gonna call it. But the UK has a very, very healthy racing. In my opinion, it's very healthy. I mean, from my experience. I mean, literally. Okay, this is 2014. I had 3 events, so I could go to any 3 events, and if I didn't have a BRCA or at least proof that I had to sign up for the BRCA, then people wouldn't let me race.
Correct.
So I know on this podcast, I get on EFRA, I get on ROAR and all these federations, but I am a big believer in federations. Yeah. I'm a big believer in the BRCA.
Yeah.
I know it's not perfect. I know it needs to modernize. That's why I was happy to see you get involved. But tell us a little bit about the BRCA, how it started, because IFMAR actually started in the UK, I believe, or from England.
It all started, I think it was Ted Longshaw started the what he wanted, kind of a federation or a set of rules to keep it fair and to help the hobby grow. So he started IFMAR, and then he I guess as IFMAR kind of grew bigger, from my understandings, he kind of stepped into the BRCA and started that. And through the years, it's just grown and grown with the help of people like Paul Worsley, who was the 10th section chairman for a long time. It's very, as I would put it is very English. There's a lot of rules, a lot of strict rules. Yeah, exactly. But they all kind of have a really good reason to be there. There's the odd one that you think, oh, this isn't that, I'll bring one up. Wearing a high vis, we're like the only place in the world that does it. And as you probably saw from the Euros, everyone went out with a high vis. Now in the UK, we all have our own high vis jackets. Mm-hmm. The Europeans really struggled with it because it's not something they do in Europe. And although I kind of get it, it's just one of those things that it's a little bit of a pain, and it seems a very English thing to do.
Yeah, but it makes sense. Trust me.
But
I'm a big proponent of high vis vests.
Yeah, it does, and you definitely can see that you've got all your marshals on the track and that they are a marshal. It's a good idea, but it's just one of those little things. Like you said, going up and leaving the rostrum in different places is
but that makes for better racing.
Yeah, it's a faster turnaround.
Yeah, I think when I realized how involved the BRCA was, when I remember when the big there were people, not everybody, people couldn't use headsets.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason for that was, well, we're trying to keep racing as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
And not everybody can afford 300 race sets, so we're not going to allow them. I understand that, like 100% understand that. I mean, we raced for how many years without headsets?
Yeah,
and it does give, if somebody can't afford to have them, then somebody does have them. If you just prefer not to use them, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
So, and little things like that, and I think, and there's just a lot of rules. It's like I said, it's very English. It's very much like cricket. There's lots of rules, but I like that. I mean, because then it's created such a great, in my opinion, one of the healthiest racing communities in the world.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, no, it has. I mean, we have, for 10th scale, we have regional events which get you an F grading. So we have this F grading system in the UK. If you're the top 30% at our national, you become an F1. I can't get these numbers right, but the next 20% is an F2. Again, F3, F4. But you could also get one of these F gradings at your local regional events. So, but you can't get an F1. You can get up to an F2, and that is it. And we use these gradings a lot to decide entries of events, what events you can go and do. We have separate end of season championship one-off race for everyone that's an F2, F3, F4, and F5. And because of these F gradings, we can do these kind of things. It helps with seeding to a degree. It gets a little bit difficult this year at our nationals. We've had Michael Olowski has come to a couple of them, and he is an F5. But you've got to use common sense. You can't put him in the bottom heat. It wouldn't be fair on the guys in the bottom heat. It's not fair on him. So you've got to put him as high as you can without maybe putting him in with the top guys, because he's got to kind of earn that. And it's again, a very English cricket thing. Most people think, you should just put him in the top heat, don't be so stupid. And yeah, to a degree, you probably should. But we've got rules written that everyone gets
that apply to everybody.
Yeah. So
I mean, because even like concerning the RCGP run that's coming up, I know unfortunately it's clashing with 10 skill run, and I know people are upset about that.
Yeah,
and I mean, I'm upset because I just wanted to see like the Hall brothers come out and race and all that stuff. And and I was hoping that you and maybe Aiden might be able to come out and meet you guys if I come. But and then it was good to see the BRCA and RCGP and Nemo come up with I mean, it probably isn't the best solution, but it's a solution for everybody, and that's what it has to come down to. And I think a lot of the complaints that I've seen with the BRCA is that it was, and my complaints too with other federations, still stuck in the 80s and heritage and all that stuff. And with you, when I saw you come on, I was like, all right, so we're gonna step in. And why I think you, because I mean, you kind of understand. I mean, I've listened to you guys enough. You guys can understand. You want to progress RC forward, and things have to move forward. And I was happy about that when you went in there, because we need to. I'm thinking future. I'm thinking, Martin's a smart dude. He needs to get into EFRA somehow, and we need to get more guys. Now I'm already figured this out in my brain somehow, because that's how I think. But yeah, man, I just think and from our American listeners, if Raw was to operate if Raw was supposed to operate how it was supposed to operate, it would be like this, and everything. Like, I don't think anything that's racing in RC doesn't go through the BRCA.
Yeah, correct. Everything in this country will go through them in one way, or their rules will be used in a way, right, in this country.
It's just Go ahead. Sorry.
A lot of the EFRA rules are for 10th have been written by the same person. Paul Worsley has wrote our 10th rules and written some of the EFRA ones.
Okay.
Some are correct. Some definitely need modernizing. Some need changing. But like as you just said, there's some people believe this hobby is getting too professional. That's a conversation I seem to have quite a bit. Okay. But it needs to get professional, because it needs to attract bigger sponsors. It needs to attract you know, I want to go. I'd love to go to a big race, and your likes of Mayfield turn up, Cavallari, Ronald Folk, you know, all those type of people turn up. Obviously, we know there's politics that stop some of it. That's got to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
I agree with you.
You know, last night we had Hupo Hongi, the Austrian X-ray driver, on our podcast, and he hit the nail on the head that he joined X-ray. He went from Team C to X-ray, and people stopped speaking to him. Come on, guys, it's a hobby. This is, you know,
and
he hasn't changed because he's gone to a different team. Yeah, you may not agree with some of the things they do, and that's fine. You know, but I think some of the things they do is to make the hobby grow.
I agree with you.
They go a strange way about some things, but that's all they kind of know. But I think we need more working together.
You know what? I will. Okay, so I think people are scared of RC going professional. We have people that are paid to race.
Yeah,
that makes you a professional, in my opinion. There's people out there that their job is to come to a track and race.
Yeah.
What we don't do is we don't have a professional setting to utilize them. Yeah. For like I come back to, okay, look, I think David Ronnefolk's very professional. I think if he wasn't racing RC cars, he'd be a professional. If he likes golf, he would have been a professional golfer, all that stuff.
Yeah.
He gets it when he, you know, if it's time to come in front of the camera, he gets it, all that type of stuff. I saw the kid Max Hess, who is training to be, he was at RCGP. He's training to be he's like in the BMW junior program in Germany, like for full scale.
Yeah.
And I asked him, like, every time he put a camera on him, he was like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, and it's like, "Hey, do you train?" And I asked him, I said, "Do you train?" He's like, "Yes, we do." What RC needs is a PR management. PR. They need somebody to come in here and manage. And we just have this. Okay, I kind of didn't want to get on this, but being as you said, and I'm going to say it, because I was saving it for last week, but I'm going to use divisions race because I always use RCGP, but I'm going to say, we can always say, well, people don't support RCGP because of JQ. All right, cool. But divisions race is coming up next week, and not all the manufacturers are good. Like, and I think, like, because there's an ENATS one, and I said to myself, and this is a topic for next week's podcast: what's good for the hobby and the industry as a whole, and the sport as a whole, versus what's good for individual brands. And my opinion is, like, we should all get behind divisions race because this is what we asked for, right? This, as you know, we want to get in front of people, we want to do this and we do that, but I don't know if the manufacturers seem to really want that. Like, some do, but anyway, that's a topic for another day. But yeah, I would 100% agree with you, and I think it has to start with people like yourself who are open-minded, who understand that. And yes, I get it that EFRA and IFMAR and these federations have lots of heritage and whatnot, but we can learn from that. We need to go forward. Like, we need to bring, it frustrates my life that we can get cheese wheel rolling, which I guess is real popular and really big around people see that we can get that on the most obscure sports in the world on Netflix, but we can't even get on there. We can't. And it frustrates me because I think, like, every time I travel, oh, what are you traveling for? I'm going to an RC race that leads to a conversation that leads to, like, oh, I didn't even know this, you know. And it's so crazy because once people see this, it comes down to a lot of it. It's not just drivers, like RCs be presented in a cool way, all this type of stuff. There's a lot of things need to happen. But I agree with you, man. And the only way we're going to change that is to get people like yourself who are forward thinking into these federations. So, I mean, BRCA needs it too. Okay, I have one complaint about BRCA. I do have one complaint.
Yeah.
Can we please, and this is for Europe, period. Can we just use Everlaps? Can we just use Everlaps for live RC? Because the BBK stuff, oh my, I'm sorry.
Well,
that definitely feels like the 80s.
BBK, I think, is slowly going away.
Okay.
I know the gentleman who made it, he doesn't really support it anymore. I know there's plans going on to kind of try and develop a new timing system. A lot of the guys in the BRCA and the exec higher up do a lot of sim racing, and there's some amazing, and I've dabbled with it, and there's some amazing time systems in sim racing and the way it retains driver information and uses it. But yeah, I agree with you. Silverstone I think they use the Live RC.
Yeah, they did.
That seems to be my kind of favorite one at the moment.
I like that too.
It's easy to use.
Yep.
I mean, this Euros,
I'm not liking my RCM right now.
No, I tried looking at that yesterday to see who was where, and I put my phone down in 30 seconds.
Yeah, even Max is all right. You're right.
Yeah.
You are absolutely right, Keenan. This is shite.
It is. Yeah, it is. But funny enough, going back just really quick to the professional side of the sport, it's funny. I watched it again. Corey Drakenberg's videos, his Come Drive With Us series, are some of my favorite things to watch. If I'm wrenching, I put those on. And I really like the one he did about the Reedy race, which was the first one he did. And that was in 2013, I think, or 2014. There's two things in that were said, and they've still not changed. One, Scott Earner said, the reason we've not gone big time is our race format. Because those to the outside world, it's boring. It's, and I know RCGP have tried a few different things, and, the formats, I can see it. It's maybe not quite there yet, but it's close. And the other thing, and this is where I've come into this role, is we got to listen to the racer. Ryan Mayfield in that thing says the problem is, and I think he was talking about going to Yotobi racing on the Astra at the time, and he said the problem is with these federations, they don't listen to the racer. That's where I'm a little bit different, because I still race. So I know what it's like to race. Yet I'm even now still dealing with people that have never raced an RC car, but think they know how it should be. And that I struggle with that.
I can't imagine that there's people are in positions of power to be making decisions about RC car racing. That's what frustrates me.
But they're there, I guess, and rightfully so, because back along, people went racing and their dads had nothing to do, and they went, "Oh, I'll go and do this and I'll go and do that." And thank God they did.
Yes,
that's
of course,
how we're in this
of course.
position. I mean, Joey Cockill's dad was the referee at the Euros the weekend, and you could think, well, John's never raced, but he's owned a model shop, and he's
it's a difference though.
Race. So that's the difference,
Yeah, it is a difference.
There are some people making decisions that have never raced. I mean, some people could say that I'm aiming that at Paul Worsley. He's never raced, which is actually not right, because I found out at the Euros, which I never knew, he actually did race for a while. I never knew that, and I've known him for 11 years and never knew he'd actually raced. But there are people higher up that, they've dabbled a little bit. And I'm not saying you have to race to help,
but you have to at least have your finger on the pulse of the community that you're a part of.
Go and talk to your racers. That's what someone said to me, you should never give the racer a voice because it will give them too many opinions. But when I'm thinking of an idea or a rule change, or I'm not sure, I go and speak to my fast guys. I go and get their opinions, but I also go and speak to my slower guys, because their opinion's just as important. And most of the time you will find they've got the same opinion.
Yeah, but they're not hearing each other. They're hearing, but they're not listening.
Yeah.
All right. I want to touch on the Euros. So last weekend, great Euros.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't ask for two better finishes. We had Tommy Hall, local UK kid, with his racing his brother too. Amazing.
Yeah.
That was funny. Like, I was like, is his brother gonna beat him? Amazing. I think every single A main that I watched was great. Full drive and 2-wheel drive. Congratulations to Tommy Hall. That's like, even though, like, okay, so I'm Bermudian, it's British. You don't have any Bermudians there, so like for me, I was like, that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? I thought that was cool. And then I really who really grabbed my attention was the Marcus Carup. And I was like, ooh, I just was watching his car, and I was like, this kid Like, he's good. Like, you know, I watched Tommy Hall and I'm like, he's good, but he's also, you know, I understand that this is kind of like, you know, I know they go there a lot too. I'm not saying that, I'm not taking away from his victory.
Yeah.
I know they go there a lot. But I know a lot of people go there a lot. But the kid Kara was super impressive with his win. And second generation European champion. That's awesome. Like, and that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for great federations.
Yeah.
And to see the emotions and all that, it's just for me, looking from the outside in and talking about it, I thought it was a great event. I enjoyed the event in 2015 when it was there.
Yeah,
I watched it. I thoroughly enjoyed this event. It's a very unique track. Very difficult. It doesn't look difficult. It's not like, you know, people, it's just a flat. No, it's bumpy and it's crazy. You was very busy. First Euros. How would you judge? I mean, for me, I think it was very successful first and perfect for RC. Something RC needed right now. Young kids doing well. Noah Ben Mohammed chasing down Coelho.
Yeah.
We could have asked for better stuff than that. And unfortunately, your team Schumacher didn't do too well. I mean, when I say do too well, you didn't win. Like, because Arlowski
we didn't. Yeah,
is, you know, was complete opposite of what I thought. I was like, Coelho, Arlowski, yeah, they're gonna be first or second. That was my mind. Yeah. But then once people, the whole, it captured me. I blew, you know, I loved it. Congratulations, good job.
Yeah, no, I mean, the UK team as a whole, just really, one of the things we always, or I always do as team managers, the first thing is you got to tell these drivers that you're not driving for Schumacher and you're not driving for A&E, you're driving for the UK, and we all go and support each other and work together, which our team was unbelievable at doing that. You know, we had the biggest team there. It's in the UK. We had, I think, 46 drivers. And I think Europe had 45 drivers. So it was split down the middle. But these kids were just, I think some of it is pressure. They don't feel it. They don't, because the expectations maybe aren't there, where I think Bruno, Michael, Lee, you know, some of the older guys, they feel the pressure a little bit. But you can, you know, as I said to my young guys, because a couple of them were sort of like, you know, we've out qualified Neil or we've out qualified Lee, and I said, yeah, but they've won Worlds and they've won Euros, and you need to still show them the utmost respect, because they've been there and done it, and the pressure's on them to do it again. And it maybe kind of showed a little bit in four-wheel drive, because I think, see, Tommy didn't make the A in the four-wheel drive. You know, some of that's, he's won two-wheel drive, and the emotion of that is going to wipe you out a little bit. And, you know, you're going to go into the four-wheel drive going, oh, I want to do both. I want to do it. And you've put that pressure on.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah. And I think, you know, that has its suffering. I mean, Tommy's first ever A final, a national, was at Robin Hood. That's the first place he ever made an A. 4 years ago with a PR four-wheel drive. So, you know, he's quick around there in four-wheel drive, and as you said, they've been there and practiced a lot. Although Tommy in the warm-up, we had a warm-up race there 2 months ago, he struggled. So he was never in the, you know, a couple said, oh, maybe Tommy win. Everyone's going, nah, he's too young. It's not going to happen. And he didn't have that pressure.
But JQ said all of this too on Saturday. He said it's all mental.
It is.
He said
100%. The mental game in RC racing, as I've learned in the last 6-7 months, taking on the things I've taken on, your racing suffers. I mean, I'm struggling with my personal racing loads to the point I've gone, you know what, just go and enjoy it. And that's what I'm doing. I've not, I could go a whole day now and not look at the result board and not be that worried. And it shows, because I came back home a couple of weeks back and did a regional at my home track. No pressure. You're not in charge of anything. You're not anything. I won both days and drove the best I've ever driven. Pressure's a funny thing. And
just having fun. You're just having fun.
Yeah. You know, and the mind games, as JQ has said many a times, you can get in someone's head, that you've got him.
He gets in his own head.
Yeah, he does, bless him.
But no, just impressive. But I think like I was pumped about Tommy, about Carrot, man. I don't know. I just think like you know, talking to like because BRCA and Killick was telling me about him. I said, man, kid's fast.
Yeah,
and BRCA's fast, and I'm like, he's like, well, BRCA's only 16. Like he looks 21, but he's 16.
He does, yeah.
And then you know he had that mix up before Lowski in the EOS. So I'm seeing Karups being fast elsewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think I agree with JQ. I think Karup out of those guys. I know how I've been on the kid, but Noah bin Muhammad. Sorry, Ben Muhammad. I think they have lots of time left because they're still young. But I think Karup's special. I think it's special.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to him and his dad after they'd won 4-wheel drive, and the thing I said to him, and rightfully so, is he had that result at the EOS, and you kind of thought, man, is it his home track or has he been there a lot? And I said to him, I said that you've just proved us completely all wrong, because you know, he drove unbelievable, and the passion they showed, and I'll be completely honest here, at EOS they showed a lot of passion, but it was a little bit too much for me, being English and being a little bit like, but the passion they showed at the Euros was unreal to see him thumping the driver's stand. I loved it. I mean, that was worth the week just seeing that.
I know, it was awesome.
You know? Yeah, and it was two different bits of passion, because when Tommy won, and we were all in tears. We were all a mess, because we've seen this kid grow up. You know, and I put a picture on Facebook when we were at the Euros 6 years ago, and he's a little kid, and they were struggling to finish races because their speedos were packing up or various things. So, you know, to 2022 and winning the Euros, and we were a mess. I mean, Jamie, his brother, that poor kid was broken to see his brother win a Euros.
Amazing.
It was unreal. Those 3 days of 2-wheel drive, I'll never forget them. They were, you know, and back in the tent and talking to Drescher about them, and unreal. So, but with Marcus, I think you're seeing a world champion.
I think so too.
But again, you don't want to put any pressure on him. Just let him go out.
No. He doesn't have immediate pressure to win either. No. I don't think there's because it's a world, like people's going to say, oh, because he just won the Euros doesn't mean no. Also, you have to understand that track is very specific. It's not easy. No. And I just have to. I know a lot of people give him shit, but man, how good is Coelho? Like, I mean, this guy, he just was like the fastest earlier in 8 scale. Like, you know what I mean? This is amazing.
In the UK camp, we all talk about, like, Bruno's our favorite European driver.
He's amazing.
Everyone loves Bruno in the UK camp. He is an utter professional all the time. He's always polite. He's always friendly. He always has time for people. You know, he's had his antics on the track, but those have gone, I think. And again, he'll win more world championships.
It's amazing. He's doing 3 disciplines in 3 weeks. That's hard.
I think he'll be the 8th world champion if you're going to put money on it.
I would not be surprised if, because it's just the track suits him.
Yeah.
Being at home. I mean, he's, you know, I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, I'm cheering for everybody besides Runnerfolk. So that's like my reverse jinx. Amazing talent to go from touring car to not like Robin Hood, like it's not what he's used to at all.
Yeah, no.
And sucked in. He wasn't good in 2-wheel drive. I mean, he had his moments, but wasn't there. And just amazing Euros, man. Congratulations to EFRA, needed that too. RC needed that. European RC needed that. And I'm hoping that we have a very good Nitro Euros. I think we are. Beautiful facility.
Oh, it looks amazing. I mean,
amazing.
It's unreal.
But I wanted to touch on something that so we're talking about Tommy Hall and that, but all of that comes from having functioning, healthy RC community
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you guys have.
It does. I mean, we look after or try to look after our juniors very well. We give them free racing. So if you're under 16 and you do a national, you don't pay. It's free.
Interesting.
We have, funny enough, this coming weekend, we have a one-off junior championship for under 13s and under 16s, which again, it's just a one-off race, but you know, the youngsters get to have a bit of glory and enjoy themselves. Again, it's completely free for them. They also, alongside it, run a veterans race for over 40s and over 50s. So it gives us old people a chance to maybe do something. But we really do support the youngsters, because
That's good.
that's the
You need to.
future. You got to. And for me, it goes back to what we spoke about 45 minutes ago, getting, you know, grief from old people when you beat them. That, you know, that doesn't happen now, which is great. We support them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean,
I just think
we had two sets of brothers in that final, which
I know that's crazy to
is
think.
bizarre. The Holdsworths getting in there as well. So
I think people just don't read. Yeah, just 2 years of no real coverage, no racing. You know what I mean? Yes, and then to have such a great 10 scale Euros.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just happy to see the Europeans racing again.
Yeah,
I love it. I enjoy it. One of my goals of this podcast was to let, like, you know, I know most of my people that listen to this are American. I want them to see what's going, because we talk about it a lot. And you know, when I went to Italy and I saw what, like, the track there and how everything was there, I got it. I got it one time, like, why JQ always says what he says and why Max says what they say and all that stuff. And I just think and when I came back, I told anybody, if you're RC enthusiast, you need to get across to Europe, England, Europe, and experience a race over there. Moving on, but how about you? So any aspirations? I mean, I hope you do. I hope you do, and many other people. I want to see Roar also get their shit together. But any aspirations to move on outside of the BRCA, maybe an EFRA, IFMAR eventually? I think you'll make a great fit in there. We need more people like you.
Yeah, I mean, the EFRA thing, I'm gonna see if I can become a British EFRA 1/10 representative, so I can go to the AGM and have a say on it. Because like most people, I got a few ideas or opinions of things that need to do better or to change. And yeah, you know, you where I see it, I don't have a goal, I don't have an end game. I just want, I know when I go to race, when I see people leave and they are smiling, I've done it right. You're not going to make everyone smile. You go there, you have a bad day, your car breaks. I mean, I had 3 mechanicals in 2-wheel drive at the Euros, and it's hard to keep your chin up and smile. It was easy for me, I guess, in a way, because I had a great team that we could go and celebrate Tommy's win, so you didn't really care how you did. But it's the events you need to see people leaving with a smile. The one thing I struggle with events is the rules or the regs or how it is. They need to be set before we get to these events. I mean, not that I don't mind the 4-wheel drive Euros. In the warm-up, you had to use your front tire and you had to leave it alone. We get to the Euros, and rightfully so, all the team managers decided they wanted to allow gluing of the sidewall of the front tire to make the car easier to drive. Fine, I have no problem with it. It does make it easier to drive, and it makes better racing, and it puts more smiles on people's faces. Brilliant. But that should be decided prior, because I made the comment that, yeah, it's okay, but we didn't do it in the warm-up, and we're doing it now. And I kind of got told, well, yeah, but the warm-up's nothing to do with this, and it's 2 separate events, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's the point of a warm-up.
Yeah, but my opinion is you need to be, if you want it to be professional, you need to try and keep the rules as consistent as you can. I mean, I've had people asking me, well, does this mean now at nationals we can glue the outside of the tire? my answer at the moment is no, because it's halfway through a season.
Yeah, you can't change the rules. Wait till next year.
And with a 10th scale, you can put different tires on the front. Saying that, or the committee did change a rule this year. It caused a bit of controversy. We went to one control tire on the back of the car, so you could only use a Schumacher Mezzo rear tire on your car at Nationals this year. But the reason we did it is when we were back in October, COVID was rife and you weren't sure where we're going to be at it. So we kind of got from higher up in the BRCA, they said, you've got to make your scrutineering almost contactless free or make it easier. So one of the things is, well, if you have just one tire, and the Mezzo, I don't know if you've ever seen it, has like a bead through the middle of it. And it was a control tire at the Euros, and it has this weird bead through the middle. Some cut it and take it out, but you can still see it's there. But for a guy scrutineering, because not everyone doing scrutineering is a professional scrutineer, you know, they may not have done it. It's family.
Scrutineering people, by the way, is tech for our American
tech,
friends.
yeah, tech. Scrutineering tech. But it was made so that they just got to look at the car and go, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But I got a lot of grief about it because it wasn't something that was voted in at the AGM. But we had this nice big thing in red at the top of the rules saying, due to COVID, within reason, if we think we got to change something because of COVID, we'll do it. Now, you could argue, going back to what you said with RCGP, the BRCA 8th section are getting grief because they've changed the rule halfway through the season for your RCGP or for the RCGP race. But in my opinion, if it gets people, you know, racing, and with RCGP, even though you put it on the same weekend as my national, I'll let you off on that. You know, it's bringing professionals to this country
to race,
and we don't get that very often. And I think sometimes, I know some people, they don't care. They don't want to see the likes of Ronald Folk and the likes of Cavalieri or whoever hammering around track. But most of the hardcore racers do. They want to watch the best. I do. I've been to a Worlds and watching the top finals, unreal. It's one of the best things you'll ever see if you're into this hobby.
Yeah, I know. I want to plug RCGP on that because I think people need to look at it that way. You're going to have Ronald Folk, Canas, these guys that normally would not come to the UK to race, and I'm really pushing. I really want to see, and RCGP made a lot of adjustments to our rules by allowing anybody to be able to run RC2 because so everybody could do it. So it was everybody had it's an ebb and flow. I'm pushing. I want to see who's going to be the best in Britain.
Yeah,
because Thomas Musa is coming, and he's from France. He's coming over there, and if he wins RC2 over there, I'm not gonna let UK ever live that down. But not only that, I'm not sure, but there's rumors like maybe RC2 might be streamed free or whatever. It might be completely free. I know a lot of people will say, well, it's behind a paywall, so there won't be no exposure. But I would love to see it because we need another. Not saying this is Neo. Not saying this is Neo, but
no,
that was one of my favorite races to ever watch.
Oh,
and then that meant they had the DXR race, which was great. You know what I mean? But who knows if that's coming back. So the UK and Europe needs a race where everybody kind of comes together and there's good coverage and it's fun and it's different. So I know it's not perfect.
Nope.
I know it. And with so many different race dates and everything going on, it's so hard to book races. But I hope people come out and support it. And I know there's a lot of politics involved in, just like in anything else. I know this person doesn't like this person, and this person, these people don't get along with these people. That's like anything else. I mean, you're dealing with racing. It's definitely in the UK. It's definitely a lot of rivalry too. I hope they come out and just support just come out and race, like get extra track time. That's it. Like, look at it like that. Get your extra track time for your national that's coming up.
Yep. I mean, yeah, exactly. The thing is, what I've learned in this role, and you probably have learned the same doing podcasts, you will not please everybody. at all. Whatever you do, someone's going to be upset. But you got to try and please the majority, which most of the time we all get right. Sometimes we don't, and the thing is it's probably a bit different RCGP. I'm quite lucky with this BRCA role because nobody else wanted to do it. When Paul Worsley said I'm stepping down, and if you don't get a chairman, you won't have a section, nobody put their hand up, and it was my wife that went, you want to, and she said, what are you going to do all summer if there's no national series? She said, because I don't want you here. So hand up, and there we go. Let's go and be chairman. But if I've always said, if they don't like the way we're doing it, and I say we because we are a committee, you come to an AGM and you get a new chairman, and and I've said quite openly, I said it this weekend, if I went to the AGM and someone else came along and went, I want to be chairman, I would just give them the laptop and go, enjoy, because I'm not, it's
selfless.
It is, it's something that no one else wanted to do, and if you're going to criticize me, then you should have turned up and put your hand up.
Yeah, and you know what? I think you're doing a banging job. Like you said, though, your personal racing will suffer.
Yes,
and at some point you're gonna be like, I just ain't gonna race. You know what I mean? I know that it happens because it happened to me.
Yeah, a few have said, why don't you just at nationals just race one day? But I still know in me that if I went to a national and couldn't drive an RC car, I would want to be there, but I'd just be gagging to race.
You know what? One of the biggest regrets that I have in my 5 years of doing this, when I started with Jakey, was giving up racing.
Yeah, it will be.
Because now I have nowhere to race.
Yeah.
So that's also a thing. And when I go to races, I just don't have time. People, you could just do this. I'm like, no, it's just, you can't, you either do one or the other for me now. So I get it. But congratulations, first Euros was awesome.
It was good.
Congratulations once again to Tommy Hall and the UK. It was good to see that. I was like, that was awesome. That was awesome. That's the good thing about the Euros, like country versus not just brand, country.
Yeah,
and
brand, in my opinion, should not come into it till afterwards and advertise like hell afterwards. But
right, the issue is, in the USA, it's just one country, so they don't have that, so it's always going to be brands with them. And Carap, like the world got introduced to him, and the other young kid from Mohammed from France.
Yeah,
I loved it. Like, and racing his hero at that, come on.
Yeah, when he said, racing. I mean, for me as well, a very good friend of mine made his first Euros A, Paul Crompton, who
I did see that.
Yep, who I went to China with, and I've spent a lot of time with him. He's a massive pain in the ass at times, and he knows it. But he made his first Euro. He won his first national 3 weeks ago, beat Orlowski outright.
Right.
And then went to the Euros and he was the top UK qualifier in four-wheel drive, and made the main. Again, absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
So,
and I did see some somber news. David Church passed away.
Yeah. I mean, that was destroying. That was in the RC scene. I mean, again, Dave, bless him, and he
was a character.
Been very good friends with him, as you probably met him at Maritime, and I've known Dave personally for 10, 11 years, and he's some of the reason I'm probably sat doing this, because he always used to moan about how it was run and how it was done. But yeah, it was a bit of a blow to an amazing week to hear that news at the end of the week, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
unfortunate, and condolences to him, his family, and the community there.
Yeah, no, we're feeling it a little bit, I have to admit.
Well, Martin, man, this was I knew this was going to be a good chat. I knew it was going to be fun. I enjoyed it. You guys, if you haven't checked out, I see, man, I hope nobody replaces you, because we need more people like you. I hope more people like you get involved in some of the other organizations.
Yeah, we'll just keep going.
And if you're listening to this and you're interested, I have to plug this. If you're interested in getting involved in ROAR, if you're American and interested in getting involved in ROAR, please do it, because that's what they need. They need people that want to push forward. And I'm actually going to have the guy who's running for president of that one soon as well. So as much as I criticize them, I want these what we just talked about is exactly why I want federations, because it produces a healthy, fair RC community for everybody and breeds what you guys have. Like, yeah, it's amazing. Martin, and Extra Lap. Don't forget to check out Extra Lap. They don't do YouTube; they just do straight audio. And Aiden, who is an Everton fan, I mean, that's great. He could be worse. He could have been a Pool fan or a United fan. But I don't mind him being
fan, but, you know.
Yeah, he's all right. Him and I are cool because he's an Everton fan. But a City fan, come on, now you got to feed the goat and let him score. Continue to do your work. Continue to chase your purpose, because I think you have good intentions. Well, I know you have good intentions.
We'll get there.
And and everything else will fall in place. Thank you for your time. Congratulations on the Euros. Check out Extra Lap on all podcast apps. If you guys need to get some information, how can anybody contact you, Martin?
They can email me or contact. They go on the BRC website, look on the 110 section. All my details are there. I'm on Facebook. Send me a message. Anything. You know, I'm happy to try and help or answer anything.
Hey, I'm on Joey's thing. We're going Martin for IFMAR president. That's what I want.
One step at a time.
Better than the one that's there now. That's for sure. Let me be nice so I can go to the Worlds in September. And Martin, thank you for your time, and congratulations on the good Euros and all that you guys do at Extra Lap. And I hope you get to enjoy some racing this year. Keep up the good job.
I will. Thanks for having me on. It's been good, and you guys do an awesome job. As you know, when I message you, I listen to them, and you know.
Thank you. I know we definitely go over the line, but sometimes you just have to.
Sometimes you got it.
Yep. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No worries.
So it's all about Euros, baby. It's all about Euros. So I have my two European friends here. To my virtual right is David Isherwood, the owner of RCGP. I've been asking to come on the podcast for some time. He finally came on. Not to talk about RCGP, but I wanted him on her because he's also been one of the guys who recently just saw some of the fastest racers that are attending the Euros race when we was in Italy. So welcome, David. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me.
I see you're channeling your inner Adam Drake with your hat to the back. But
that may be, but also because I just haven't cut my hair in a while, so I got to keep it under control. Max perhaps hasn't either, which is why he's not on camera.
You guys should see my hair.
Max has got like a ponytail now.
Yeah, I can get this into a ponytail. I just don't. It's high time for a haircut.
If my beard grew longer, I'd look like Jesus right now.
And his mustache is all curly. I don't know what he's going for. That homeless, that homeless vagabond.
I'm going
look.
for the Aquaman look without the muscles.
All right. So welcome, David. And Max, of course, we was recording earlier. So hey guys, after this awesome Euros that we just had, because this episode is all about the Euros. We just had Martin on. We talked about that. We have the first Nitro or IC Euros, as I now know, internal combustion Euros, as it's called, since 2019, which for me was one of the most exciting races I've seen in a long time. Was the 2019 race where Berton won. So we have the first big EFRA Nitro Euros in 3 years here at the beautiful Barcelos track in Portugal. It belongs to Portuguese driver João Figueiredo and his family, I believe, or they run it. Beautiful facility. Like, this is like, David, this is where I would have loved to have had a RCGP.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic. I think it's great. Well, hopefully great for João and his family, and it's great for RC that they put in such a huge amount of effort to make it look good. I know João just a tiny bit. We spoke about having a RCGP at his track, and I think that was for last season. Last season didn't happen, and then I don't recall exactly, but of course they've been tied up with warm-ups and their own race, the Buggy Challenge and the Euros, and I think it would have been tricky, to squeeze another race in for them. But yeah, they wish him the very best of luck, as a host, and they've done a fantastic job of making our sport look great, which
it looks good.
Which
Beautiful track.
I thoroughly approve of. Yeah, it looks wonderful. I mean, I thought it looked quite 10th scale-y in its presentation, but I think it'll be exciting to see when the racing gets going, how it all goes.
Beautiful. Like it's a glue track as well. So for people that don't know, we talked about this. It's the International Buggy Challenge race, the Euros warm up. We talked about this earlier. It's a glue track where they use a mix of probably 1 gallon of glue to 3 gallons of water, like Elmer's glue with glue or white glue. And then it's sprayed all over the track and it seals the track. It also seals I like that they seal the red paint as well. So the red paint doesn't disappear like it does. I love when tracks look like that, but I know that it's going to disappear within the first couple of days. So they seal the whole track. It's a very unique surface. It needs to get rubber on it. And it actually at some point has too much traction, I believe. Because we had one similar to that here in the DR. That's actually where I first met Joseph. So at a glue track here in the DR. So I understand how it goes, but man, I think Max, is it the guy Miguelo who built this track, right? I think Miguelo built this track. Where's Max? You're muted, Max.
Yeah. Miguelo built. I think I'm not exactly sure if he came here for the Euros because they remade the track a bit.
They did change some things.
Warm up and last year the track was, I think, for IBC last year. Yes. So IBC last year, Miguelo built the track. I think he even sent you some videos if you remember back then. And we were amazed how cool the track was. But they made a few changes for the Euros, which is actually quite surprising because I can't remember a Euros where the track was, or the layout was a lot different from the warm up.
They don't usually do it, innit? The Angara ring's been the same for many years.
No. I think actually Angara ring they made slight changes, but can't remember because I wasn't at the warm up. But either way, most of the time Euros and Worlds the track's the same for the warm up and the race. But this time around it was a change, so that was very, very nice to see. And I think I may, by the looks of it, prefer the new layout.
Yeah, can you tell exactly what changed? I mean, this is a picture of we haven't. I did see some video from RC Special, but it wasn't too much. It was just like one lap of each driver. So we don't have no video because I believe talking to Matt that coverage actually as we're recording this, it's Wednesday. So coverage actually starts tomorrow because qualifying starts tomorrow. By the way, this picture is brought to you by Chris.
Yeah, I think it starts tomorrow. Yeah, it starts tomorrow, I think. Late tonight for me, tomorrow for Europe.
Yeah. I was talking to Matt. Basically, like it's the same issue. Like what people don't understand right now, like traveling, flights getting canceled and all that type of stuff. It makes things difficult as we experience at RCGP. Like British Airways is canceling a lot of flights. So I think like Nick and those guys are getting there from wherever they were this past weekend and getting everything set up. I actually think Matt is staying home this one. So I think, yeah. But anyway, RC Racing TV is going to be there. Their coverage will start tomorrow. I can't wait. Hey, I enjoyed the Euros warm up here. Let's try. Look, we have so many fast guys at this race. I just can't. Okay, let's just get right into the nitty gritty of this here. Look, we just saw Canas completely dominate at RCGP. Completely dominate, David. Do you not agree that he was the most dominant racer there from start to finish?
Well, first an admission. I don't get to watch as much racing as you might think I do. So I will give you what I think I saw, or that may be slightly contradictory to what actually happened, but at least it'll be what I witnessed. Because I usually don't get the luxury of standing.
What was you
watch all
doing?
the
Maybe
races.
marshalling for somebody or something?
Oh, well, at this one, I mean, whatever needs to be done, but generally quite busy. But no, I would agree. I think Elliot had a good weekend at RCGP in Italy, which was nice to see. And yes, I think overall, Juan Carlos, had a fantastic weekend.
Yeah.
And it was good. I did catch up with the endurance final highlights, so I saw, I was aware how close it was. But yeah, I mean, 2 years since I last saw him drive, he obviously has kept himself busy during COVID, and has come back even stronger. So yeah, it was good to see, and I think he's going to be in the mix this weekend.
I believe he won the warm up. Did he not, Max? Or was it Ongaro?
Canas?
Yeah.
No, Ongaro won both races, but Canas was definitely fast, and Canas has had a very good success here before. And I talked with David, and he's been really good at this track. David Ronefok, I mean, from at the World's warm up, we discussed Euros, and he thought Canas would be one of the fastest drivers. The thing about Ongaro is he may now look like wherever he finished. I think he finished 5th after practice. He may always.
But that's nothing. We can't judge that.
Exactly. He always looks a bit underwhelming in practice, then a bit better in qualifying, and then in the mains, that's when he really strives, like he was at the World's warm up. So yeah, Canas,
right. But now he has an extra point to prove because him and Canas definitely have some beef.
Oh yeah. Does David want to touch on that? I think you witnessed it a bit more firsthand.
Yeah, I saw Davide coming off the driver's stand pretty cross on a couple of occasions, even when he had done very well. And initially, I thought perhaps that was an inter-team thing, and then quickly realized that actually he was pretty upset with Juan Carlos. But yeah, I mean, I know Keenan likes to talk about the beef, and I think when it's sort of entirely natural, I think it's a great thing to talk about. We certainly don't make anything up or encourage or exaggerate anything at RCGP. But if something happens, we're happy to talk about it. And if it rolls on across the races they go to, I'm not saying that sort of discontent is a good thing, but strong competitive
rivalries, great.
Yes, strong competitive rivalries and racing is a good thing. Our sport is like any other. It's based on character and stories, and good, engaging characters, not all of whom get along all the time, makes for great stories. So yeah, I think it'll continue into the Euros. But I was going to ask Max. You said I think that Juan Carlos is strong at this track. Is it a surface issue, a layout issue? What do you think really? Why is he so strong here?
I think it's a bit of both. Surface for one, because of the fact that it's very smooth all around. So he can drive aggressively. He drives very, very aggressively always.
Yeah.
But if we look at tracks like where he does generally well, which is Montpellier, here, a lot of Spanish tracks, it's generally always very smooth tracks. He has this very, very aggressive driving style where he likes to slide the car around corners. And when you have bumps, that hurts you a lot. But here, you don't have that issue. And you have a lot of grip with the glue track, but the grip isn't sort of sticky. It's the type of grip where you can slide the car around a bit. And especially the type of rear end that the S-Works has, he can have the drive out of the corners that he needs. So I think this sort of suits his driving style the best because it's a smooth track and it's very, very technical, but all the corners are sort of corners where you need to really, really attack the car. It's over a hip jump, it's into a berm, it's into a corner tabled up or something. That's where he can sort of really drive the car aggressively, keep it on the line, get on power, get out of it. So that's why I think Canas looks the best on this style of track. The other reason why I think Ongaro is the best because this is sort of the type of car that Associated has. This is probably the optimum for that type of car, especially with Ongaro's setup. Maybe the changes they made to the track is gonna help Canas and hurt Ongaro. because of, to me, it looks like it's less high speed, but hard to say because I really haven't seen enough footage and compared yet. But I think, to be honest, funnily enough, I think those two plus David Ronefalk are the top three of Europe right now. And of those three, I think Canas and Ongaro are very strong at these style of tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And David, this is sort of this has sort of been the Achilles heel for Ronefalk. With HB, perhaps now with Mayako, he can find something new. But yeah, I think it's hard to say sort of who would be the top guy, but my guess is those three are always going to be rising to the top.
Yeah.
And also, Ronefalk would not be happy with his performance at RCGP. And he's the type of driver that will take that and be like, all right, fuck this. Like, I'm going to go do this now. And now I'm picking everybody but Ronefalk because now I've been contractually obligated not to pick him. So I'm not picking him. But yeah, I mean, it's going to, but I mean, it's other guys that can be fast. I mean, look, we're looking at practice now, and Robert is top of practice. I mean, I know it's only practice, but Robert also looked good at the World Warm-Ups very recently. So
yeah, and the thing is, Robert has sort of weirdly had these quiet moments, and then sort of like he sort of has a quiet moment in his career, and then he steps back up. He won Euros 10 years apart, and he's not a guy who sort of is out of it until he's like really, really out of it. So Robert can be sort of a sleeper pick here.
Yeah, and Coelho. Now this is I said, and Martin even said this on before me, like Coelho could be the big spoiler here in this too. I think because just the type of track it is suits his style, and smooth, super fast.
Suits X-Ray too.
Yeah, and but how amazing is Coelho? That would be 3 Euros in 3 weeks, 3 different disciplines, 3 completely different type of tracks. Man,
look, I was never a good enough driver to have to worry about most things, but I can see how tons and tons of track time with different cars can be helpful, but it must also be a little confusing, right? I mean,
to adjust. That's what I'm trying to say. It's hard.
On-road, off-road, 10 scale, 8 scale.
It's hard. That's what I mean by it's amazing.
But you get a lot of track time, but there must be some sort of downside to it as well. I'm not a good enough driver to understand either the benefits or the negatives. But I wish him. It'd be an amazing story if he did this in this short space of time across scales and disciplines. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, and to me the sort of big thing about Coelho is he won it last time when he was in Portugal. Imagine if he wins it again, like back home. And he didn't run the last Euros, I don't think. So basically, he would be winning almost all the 8-scale Euros he's been recently attending. The thing I find we actually talked about this with Joseph, and we sort of found an angle which we both were sort of most impressed by. And I think people, if they see it like we did, will see it too. When you're a top driver, generally all of these drivers want a car that suits their driving style. Now, it's not easy to find a setup for all conditions where it suits your driving style. You need a lot of track time with that car. Now, Coelho is a driver who runs, what does he run? Tool drive, all drive, on-road, and then 8-scale off-road, and then EP off-road too, 8-scale off-road. So he runs so many classes, there's absolutely no way where he can get enough practice with all of them. And yet still, he's able to compete on the highest level on all of these classes. So to me, that speaks out that he doesn't need the car to suit him. He just needs the car to be good enough that someone can win with it. And he drives that car to its absolute best. So that's, to me, that is the most impressive part about it. It's not that he's not an 8-scale driver and he drives all the classes. It's the fact that this car most likely is quite unknown to him in the scale of, like, let's say David Ronenfalk, who pretty much only runs 8-scale, or Ryan Mayfield, who pretty much only runs 8-scale. He's a guy who spends most of his time tuning his on-road car and then just picks up his 10-scale cars and goes and almost wins the Euros. Unlucky for him, sort of. It would have been a nice story if he won all three. Obviously, now he didn't win at the 10-scale Euros, but TQ'd in second, which is very, very impressive. The only driver I can sort of remember from my RC knowledge, of RC history knowledge, is Atsushi Hara. Maybe someone like Masami could be added that there too, but at that time RC was quite a bit of a different sport and more down to the equipment than I think today. So yeah, Hara obviously is one name that people can think of who has that same skill that Coelho, that he can be so good across so many different things. But yeah, that to me, the fact that you can drive a car that is not really yours and dominate or win at all is really, really impressive.
The guy's impressive, man. He's super impressive.
I agree.
Let's have another look. Berton in fourth. No surprise there. Ricky's fast. Barufalo.
Yeah.
This is, I know what you're gonna say, Max. I know what you're gonna say, that you don't believe that this car is good on this type of track. But
yeah, but actually, I'm
Barufalo
surprised.
seems to find a way.
Yeah, because at the warm-up he really, really struggled. He really, really struggled. He was like barely in the main. But right now he seems to have the speed, like 4th in the first round, 7th overall. Then it's to me it's impressive how he does it. Even at the Worlds warm-up, you could see how all of the other techno guys were trying to find their ground, and this guy just goes out there and drives like a maniac, and he's fast.
We're talking about a talent in a slightly different way, aren't we? If we just talked about Bruno and how he doesn't get a lot of time on any particular chassis, and he can drive them all sort of almost equally as well. I don't have an opinion on the techno because I don't know enough about chassis in general, but if it isn't ideal for Marco, his talent is just making it
better. The issue with Marco,
and again, but I was only going to say, we saw it, Keenan, you'll remember at RCGP, where we had the RCGP Loves RC2, and we had stick drivers driving wheel and wheel drivers driving stick. And, the talent just came through. The fact that I think Max Hess had never touched a stick radio in his life and was still within a couple of seconds of his best time with his wheel, or whatever the combination was. And of course, I think Davide went from stick to wheel as well. And, just everybody looked at each other and was both sort of horrified and not amazed at all, because talent's talent. And,
simple as that.
Yeah.
The only issue with Barufalo is he just doesn't know how to turn it down. It's like...
Yeah, but that's what we love about him, right?
I know. I love him.
But that's his style. Like, I think Barufalo is the type of driver that if he turned it down, he'd sort of lose some of his speed. Like,
really?
A lot of his speed is down to the fact that he is driving like that. Like, he doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't let the car sort of do a thing for him. He does everything to the car, Like, I sort of thought that drivers like that would be better if they calm down, but I've sort of changed my mind a bit. I think some drivers, the way they drive, the reason why they're fast is because they don't let the car settle for a bit. They keep it going all the time. Be really aggressive or not.
I know what you mean.
Maybe he needs to calm down in a sense of not throwing tantrums on the driver's stand, but as in going full speed everywhere and crashing himself out. But in terms of how he drives, I think especially on the techno, I think that might be his sort of strong suit.
Because I've seen the guy do things at DNC, and I'm just like, he pulled that off, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm just like, and only that I've seen him do, you know what I mean? Like, but anyway, we'll see. The Killix, I think, are gonna be players in this time. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's gonna be a tough choice between Borak and Barkan. But I think Barkan was the faster at this track maybe the last time. It's been so long, I forget these things. But I don't know. I mean, Borok's in 9th and Barkan's in 11th at this moment. So
I think it'd be really good to see them do really well.
I would love to. I mean, Borok came 3rd at the 2019.
But they're sort of next generation, and they have such a good attitude. And that kind of thing should be, you can't not get behind that, and it'd be really nice to see them have a good weekend or a good week, I suppose.
I'm really looking forward to it. Just once again, European style racing. So we get a lot of style mains. We got racing all the way through. It should be great because I believe you still have to race in. I don't think you TQ and get right in like before. So I'm definitely looking forward to the coverage starting tomorrow. I know they're gonna have opening ceremonies today and whatnot. But yeah, it's gonna be great. I can't wait to see it. It's good to see it. Me and Max talked about this, but it's good to see Invisible Speed on as this title sponsor, but also RCGP came on as a sponsor as well, which I was good to see because I mean, yes, we know that RCGP is working with EFRA or working not to put races on top of each other, but it's also good to see RCGP put some money. Like, you guys don't have to do that. You don't need the advertising, but I think it's it's good collaboration.
I think, look, it's more about support than advertising, but having our name not attached exactly, but I can't think of the word, but attached to something that isn't ours, I think, was important. But like I say, it's about.
David froze. Are you there, Max?
Yeah, I'm here.
He froze. He's gonna have to turn off his camera, I think.
Yeah. That's what happens. That's what happens when you live in the middle of the fucking forest.
Yeah. Max says that's what happens when you live in the middle of the fucking forest. Your internet's shitty. David, I think it might be easier if you just turn off your camera and we just continue from there. I think you could just go into your settings and you'll have an avatar there.
You'd think I could. Let's see if I can manage. Hit a name, stop mic. Where do I do it?
Stop cam.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, that would be better. So now it's just me, her, and YouTube. All right. So finish your thought, please, David. I think he was talking about.
Well, just what was I saying? Supporting another event and supporting the live stream and we have a relationship with EFRA, so to me it seemed logical. It all happened quite late, but it's not as much about having our name on screen as it is about supporting something we believe in, and as the host as well, and I said as much in that little post on Facebook. So really happy, and it's what we're all here for, isn't it? So whether it's a good story about the Killix, or whether it's a good story about a successful event for EFRA, or a wonderful facility and a well-run event for Joao and his family, this is how we get things done. This is how we grow as individual facilities or federations or races, and it's how we grow as an industry and as a community. Because if we don't do that, we're not going to make it. So that's sort of why we got behind it, and really pleased and proud to be involved. A little bit. Yeah. It's not like anybody's paying attention to us, but it feels like the right thing to do. So there we go.
Good. I think it's good too. Are we gonna make any picks though? Anything else you want to add to this, Max? Before we, I mean, it's not much. We haven't seen much footage.
Yeah,
this is I want to preview. I know you want to
make picks for sure. I want to make picks. That's 100% sure. But
all right, so you want to make picks?
Yeah, but I actually want to add to the fact that Invisible Speed and RCGP is a sponsor. I think it's interesting that I'll say it. I think it's interesting that RCGP sponsors an EFRA event before EFRA sponsors a non-EFRA event ever.
I mean, I understand what you mean.
That's at least to my knowledge.
Right.
Because We've ETS, ENS, we've had Neo, we have Euro Contest. It was called Euro Contest. And please, someone, if you're listening, or if especially if someone from EFRA is listening, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember a race that EFRA has sponsored that EFRA wasn't sort of organizing. And to me, that's quite astounding, actually, to think about, because EFRA is a federation. EFRA should be working with everyone. But I think
that's how you get to that point.
Yeah. Exactly. That's where we're coming to.
Right.
Instead of now focusing on what EFRA hasn't done before, I think we should focus on what we all, like David is now doing with RCGP, what we all should be doing in the future. EFRA, like Dave now, this year work with RCGP, it has been great. And that's very, very nice to see. But I wish that extends further, and even like perhaps RCGP could sponsor IBC some year. Who knows? Like just like as an example, like perhaps all of these organizers in the future will work together in a much bigger way. And I think sort of this RCGP sponsoring an event, that's not a huge deal on its own. But I think if this were to become the standard of our industry, it would be a much bigger deal. So that's, I think, for everyone to think about just the sort of idea behind this, instead of just looking at, okay, RCGP paid a sponsorship for this event. I think that's a bigger story about it. And yeah, that's just what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it'll benefit RCGP particularly, but that wasn't my first thought. It was, hang on, there's an opportunity to work with a group of people that I know a little bit, Matt and Nick and Control and RC Racing TV, and EFRA we've built a bit of a relationship with EFRA, so that seemed like an easy fit to support. And yeah, it seemed like the right thing to do, rather than good as an individual race or organizer or whatever it is that I am and we are. So yeah, if other people think that that's the right direction, then yeah, maybe we'll see it happen a little bit more. So
yeah, I mean, well, I kind of want to segue into this a little bit. I know I'm trying to avoid this at most, but might as well. Even the Visions race, like that's coming up next week, Dave. Like I saw the guy who does all the pictures, Jacob from Race Time, he's joining up with him. Obviously, they teamed up with Scotty. They teamed up with, well, Scotty's part of our live RC, teamed up with Joey and all this type of stuff to do this event, which I think is going to be great because I'm really looking forward to this next week. And it's good to see that collaboration happen. But I think I don't really want to go into too much this week, but I think what we're seeing is basically they're kind of encountering the same thing that RCGP encountered when it came to getting the support of the manufacturers to send drivers to this event. It comes down to like, yeah, I mean, it's great that we have new people and RC2 people coming up to RCGP, but it'd be great if Rivkin and Bornhorst would have been in Italy too. You know what I mean? So I think collaboration has to start somewhere. You know what I mean? And collaboration on your and you and EFRA side started with them just agreeing that you guys have an agreement not to put races on each other. I'm just gonna mute you, David, or whoever that was who was grinding. Sorry. And then you see the collaboration with Live RC, Joey, obviously, and then race time events and all that stuff. So that's good to see as well. So hopefully we can all collaborate as manufacturers, the industry, to start in supporting things that are good for the industry and hobby and not just for individual brands. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So kudos to you. I'm glad I did it because also like we work with Matt and Nick and we see how hard they work, and like the sponsorship for the like that shouldn't be no issue. Like this is the first Euros in 3 years. It should have been full. People are insane. People are gonna be watching. This race is gonna be jam-packed this weekend online watching. I guarantee it. I know.
Is it not full?
I mean, what I mean
really
for
thought about
like
it
lots of people watching it online. There's gonna be lots of people watching this race online because it's we got this is the first Euros in 3 years we have her. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And if we can get some of what happened over and the magical stuff that happened over the 10 scale side of things last week to happen this weekend, then that's just 2 really good weeks of racing for European RC in general, but European RC that it's needed for this 2 years off COVID. 2 years off COVID, nobody's racing, everybody's back, and so I hope that this example that you set with this, and I hope I'm just excited, man. Yours, people,
Just to tie a few of the thoughts together from what perhaps I've said, Max has said, and you've just said. I think, look, Dave was really brave recently. I forget which race. Was it Silver State, maybe, where he ran a different format?
No, that was AMS.
Okay, AMS. But people were hating on him online before the event had even run.
Yes.
So I think Dave has a particular style of running his 4 or 5 races a year, and he took a risk. And as far as I know, it paid off. I guess the real proof will be whether he chooses to do it again. But people were hating on him before the race had even run. So I think, we're trying to work a little bit more with EFRA, and it's going quite well, I hope, so far. And again, with the Visions race, I think I know what you're not talking about, but we should wait to see how it goes.
Yeah, that's what I am. That's what I'm kind of doing.
If we're going to be critical of any party, whether it's sponsors or media or drivers or hosts, or let's at least see it go through its first iteration. And I think the race is next weekend.
Next weekend.
So not this, and then, it's less sort of negativity and hate and more, I would hope, more constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I think this jump to conclusions before races or drivers or events have even had a chance to, be
especially
seen.
New ones. That's never happened.
To be seen to be doing what it is they're doing is what I find disappointing. So I'm excited to see how the Euros goes. I'm excited to see how the Visions race, I think it is called, goes. And, we'll reserve probably my private judgment of any of it until I've had a chance to see it, because heaven knows we don't get everything right. And, people in glass houses and all that.
Just to touch on the Visions race, it's also, so Mav TV is gonna do like a 1 hour special on it. So I'm assuming they're gonna take either RC Racing TV. Live RC is gonna give them the footage and they'll make something of it, or Live RC will put together a 1 hour package, and it will be on Mav TV, which is great. I've had many people say to me that we need to get RCGP driven on there as well, and I agree. The problem is, like, if you read. This is something I wanted to ask you, because I get this. I know we're kind of getting away from the Euros a little bit, and we're going to get back on that and make our picks after this. But I've had so many people like, oh, the RCG, this should be on Netflix and this should be on that. If you look at what Live RC said, after many years of asking and calling and trying to get this done, and Live RC actually works with the full-scale world of racing in things, they just got Mav RC on Mav TV on to agree to have like an hour special of this race, because obviously this is a big event. You know what I mean? This is a race at a giant event that is going to be attended by thousands of people. So Mav TV is going to be there, and this is going to be a part of it. But it does seem that this is going to be permanent, because the people are building like a permanent driver stand. So this thing, it looks like it might be a yearly thing. So if it does, like this year isn't that good, but we need this first year to be good. You know what I mean? And we need it to put the best foot forward for RC. So I implore people to attend, like, you know what I mean? And I don't know, like, I just kind of, we'll wait. I just kind of saw the same response from when I look at the list of people that are going, and I'm like, wow, this manufacturer isn't sending this price and why, and this, you'll see. We shall see. All right. So back to the Euros, and then I want to touch on RCGP UK, and then that's it for us because this has been a long podcast. David, are you going to be brave and make some picks? We're going to do top 3
for the Euros.
Yes.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be that brave. I can only go on what I've most recently seen, and I think it'll be Juan Carlos, Davide, and David.
Okay.
I would put an order on it if you want me to, but I think Elliot will be quick. I'd like to see, just being a little bit biased, I'd like to see some of the Brits do well, so Elliot and Lee. But heavens, Bruno could be in the mix, and it'd be nice to see some sort of unexpected and fantastic stories as well. But if you're going to press me, I'm going to say Juan Carlos, Davide, and then David.
Okay. All right, Maximus, your turn.
Yeah, so my picks. Maybe Ongaro now gets his first. I've been so wrong in my latest picks, I think.
Do you think he's going to get it at this race?
Maybe.
I think he's motivated too after losing to Canas.
Yeah, and also this is his track. Like I don't remember a race where he has lost at this track.
Yeah,
but he has this Euros curse where he has not yet won a Euros.
Right. Well, you know what? I am picking everybody but David Ronnefalk.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Canas, David, and Ongaro, David, and Canas.
I'm just gonna say the top 3 people will be those 3 guys. I think. I'm not saying which particular order because I'm not jinxing nobody. But if I do think that Ongaro is definitely one of the favorites, and Canas to win this. Surprise! Who do you think is gonna be in this main that you probably don't think wouldn't have been in her? Give me a name. One name.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Someone who you'd not think to be there.
Arente.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's like. I wouldn't be really surprised if he made it.
Okay.
You know what? Okay, I'll give you one. Joona Haatanen.
Okay, so you're gonna pick the finish. You're gonna go with
Joona Haatanen is my dark horse for the main.
Okay.
Not for a top 5 or anything, just the main.
Who did you say, Keenan?
You know who I'm going for, to be honest, and I think if he drives like he drove at RCGP, Hampus.
Good pick.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Hampus is kind of. I'd say Hampus and Johan are.
And you know what? Is Valente there?
Now.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think it would surprise me if he was in the main, but my pick for this section is Valente, Leonardo.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You know what? I actually wouldn't argue with you there, David, because he was so fast. He was so fast.
Yeah,
hey,
I wouldn't be surprised about Valente.
Well, Lanka and Bloomfield are at this race.
Yeah, that's funny actually. Bloomfield, European champion, Valanka second place at 2014. Both
no Neil Craig.
No Neil Craig, but both of these 2 guys sort of out of RC for a few years and been doing really well on a national level.
Yeah.
So interesting to see how they do.
I hope Bloomfield comes to RCGP. And with that, you know what? Before we get into RCGP talk, David, so Euros start tomorrow. It'll be on YouTube and Facebook of EFRA, RC Racing TV, I believe. I'll be all on that. You know that I'll be geeking out. I'll be up early watching that stuff from the early tomorrow morning. So it'll be all on the NNRC page tomorrow morning. Well, it'll be Friday when you listen to this, or late Thursday. So you can find all your Euros right there, and let's watch some of the best in the world. I mean, this is a great prelude leading up to the Worlds in September. I mean, we got this race. We got probably one more Wicked Weekend, probably the last race where all the Americans are going to get together and probably race each other. So, yeah, it's good. And then, I don't know. I'm just excited to have Euros. Good luck to everybody. I'm looking forward to a great broadcast from there and some exciting racing. I think I'll be a part of doing some things with Matt on Friday and Saturday as well, virtually. So I'm excited about that. And then it's the next race for us will be RCGP UK. David, good job on the working out the differences with the BRCA. I mean, it's not the absolute ideal thing to happen, but at least we got some collaboration as well there, which was good.
Yeah, I mean, putting calendars together is tricky. Within your own class, within your own state, within your own county, within your own country. I think putting them together for a series is tough. A World Series is tough. So yeah, clashes are inevitable. This was quite a significant one, but with John Hazelwood and his team at Nemo and Nemo Raceway, and through him with the BRCA, I think everybody worked together to find a solution that allows everybody to participate in I suppose 2 or 3 or 1 of the races that will follow in quite quick succession. I would like to think people will come to our race. I think it's going to be, offer something a little different. That's, part of what we do. So yeah, I think the collaboration piece is the most satisfying though. And, again, all the preemptive negativity, all the preemptive hate, it's just unnecessary. It's a waste of energy.
Yeah.
And getting solutions and coming and racing and, having a darn good time. And I know John's up for it, and he and his team, will be great hosts. Yeah. So, again, the collaboration bit, it's really, satisfying and necessary. And come race, we'll be there. We're going to give it, the entire team will be there in full force. And I hope to see lots of Brits. It's sort of coming home for me. I'm, an Englishman.
No shit.
Been living abroad for quite a while, and it's fun to have the race at the home. And I'm only following in the footsteps of other giants, really. So I hope we can live up to that in some part.
Yeah, and England hasn't, and hopefully, and it's going to be good coverage. Let's put it that way. And hopefully something happens on that too. I'm not letting any secrets out. I'm just pushing for some things. I look forward to it. I'm challenging. I'm listening to challenging now again to all, because you guys changed the rules so anybody can join this. I hope to see the Skidmores and the Clancys and all those like coming to this race to see who's the best in England too. And I hope Musso comes over and he does some. And I hope some more people from Europe come over. That's going on the first weekend of August, I believe. So check that out. And but this weekend it's all about the Euros, and we'll be geeking out on that. And I am going to say that I'm not making any picks, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's hard not to say. What just make all these picks and somebody like Barton wins or Battier. I wouldn't be upset if Battier won, to be honest. So, or Killix, or one of the Killix to win, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be excited if any one of them won, really.
Right.
I think Berton winning again would be the most interesting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like
because he's very unexpected. Sort of.
He'll be the longest reigning ever European champion.
Yeah, probably.
But look, what one of the perhaps more expected guys winning, but maybe having a great battle would be a great story, or perhaps a sort of unicorn win of somebody a little less expected would be a great story. So I think the stage is set for a fantastic race and story. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I can't imagine I can't imagine really being disappointed by or
the
wishing
only that could be disappointing is if that Canas. Okay. Anything that could be disappointing to me is if Canas and Angara just get out to a lead and nobody challenges them.
Not if they battle with each other.
If David gets out to win and nobody battles, then it will be extremely exciting for me and I won't care. But, I just hope we have a good race. We had a great 60-minute it would be a 45-minute race, I think, at this. But we had a great 60-minute battle at RCGP that people will get to see later on in Italy that didn't see it. And if we could see something like that at this race, then we're in for, or even just how it was in 2019. We're in for a good treat here this weekend of racing, and it's going to be good for European racing and much needed after this 2-year break. Fellas, I want to thank you. This has been a long podcast. We haven't done a long one like this. This is a 3-hour plus podcast in one go. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And also I have to pay some more bills while I'm here. So RCE3 Racing in Huntsville, Alabama invites you to join them on August 6th and 7th for the 13th annual Rocket City Challenge presented by Futaba Radios. Averaging over 200 entries annually, the Rocket City Challenge is one of the South's premier outdoor off-road races. With a 2-day race format, you're able to enjoy a laid-back racing atmosphere while battling out with some of the fastest racers on the East Coast. This race also features fun events like a buddy race, a pit stop challenge on the Saturday nights to give racers a fun way to wind down from a long day of qualifying. With grand prize giveaways like a Futaba 10PX, the HB8 E19 RS, this is one event you won't want to miss. Check us out on Facebook at RC3 Racing, or for more information, or visit them at www.rc3racing.com. Actually, I would like to see more tracks do kind of like what the pros and Joes thing. That was a good event. I think if anybody could get something really good out of that, it would be from that RCGP event. Also, we'd like to say thank you to Lugs Racing for their continued support. Lugs has over 55 years of combined experience. They've been testing treads, wheels, and rubber for your performance. They have 2 lines of tires, the Econ line of tires, which is developed with racing budgets in mind. High quality but lower cost means savings can be passed on to you, racer. Then they have their premium line, which they use their custom modes and proprietary rubber blends and compounds to offer you, the racer, the best set of tires that you can have. They also only sold in sets of 4. Tires available in medium soft, super soft, and mega soft, and now long wear. Go to www.lugsracing.com. Use the promo code NNRC Lugs in all caps to save 25% off your order. All links and all that stuff will be in the written description of this podcast. Thank you to Lugs. Thank you to everybody that supports this podcast. Let's have a great weekend of racing, everybody. And I look forward. Maybe we'll get to, I'm sure we'll be talking throughout this whole next couple of days about all of this. So thank you for your time, David. Thank you, Max, for your time. I know it's late. You got to go. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Enjoy the Euros. Good luck to everybody. Be safe. Thank you to all of the NRC squad around the world. We guys can't do without you guys. Thank you to the patrons of the podcast. I can't do without you. Thank you to all the awesome sponsors of the podcast. They are Invisible Speed, TZO 200 Tires, High Tech RCD, TNR Fuels, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Lugs Racing, G-Spec RC Tuning, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Some Pedal USA, Racecraft USA, Clinic RC, RCGP, House of RC, DR Race Shop, JTP RC. Thank you, David, for your time. Would you like to say anything before you leave?
No, just thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope to come on again sometime.
Max, nobody can see you, so they can't salute you. Did you want to say anything? You were super. I'm pretty sure that Barry's going to be upset with you this week, but you came out full arrogant mode, dude. I liked it. Good job. Thanks. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, maybe Barry will be mad at me, but he can watch the Euros and feel good.
What's the Euros going to do for him?
No, it's good racing. It's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be good racing. You know, with that, thank you. Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. Thank you guys for all the support. Please share, like, whatever. Leave comments. Leave reviews. Hey, it all helps us out. We can't do it without you. With that said, you guys out. Enjoy the Euros. And we'll be back Monday or Tuesday to talk all about it. You know we're going to be geeking out about it. Lefty, Max, and David, you guys out. You guys have a good weekend.